Check the mic and make sure it sound right, boys.
Hey guys, what's up? Pardon the voice. Things got a little crazy in LA. We both got head colds, thankfully tested negative for the Rona, but still feeling the effects. Say hello to the people, honey.
Hi, people.
We have a very special presentation for you today, and I'm going to let LeeAnn Kreischer do the opening for the show. But I just wanted to say we were lucky enough to go back to where it all began, and that is on the set of Wife of the Party. And not only that, Santa Claus came early for us because Bert Kreischer jumped off a plane fresh from Alaska, aka the North Pole, and was kind enough to sit with us. We chopped it up for a couple hours. It's a long episode, but it's a fun one. We talk about family, we talk about travel, we talk about what's next in our collective lives. So without further ado, here's LeeAnn to bring us into our very first SWAPCAST, and it couldn't happen with a better bunch of people than LeeAnn and all of our friends over at Wife of the Party. Enjoy.
Guess who's back? Skip Town All-Stars are back. Denise and James have been traveling for 2.5, 3 months, and they're back in LA for the holidays. So they came in so we could, well, I had planned on recapping their last 2.5 months, but special guest Bert Kreischer crashed the party, and we ended up talking about their experience, but a lot of other stuff. Favorite places, hardest parts of the podcast, what they love about it. Bert and I too give them some advice. But it's such a great podcast. If you haven't found it yet, it's called Skip Town All-Stars. You can watch it, listen to it anywhere you find a podcast. They sold their home when their youngest daughter graduated and went off to college, and they've been traveling the U.S. looking for their next place to live. They chronicle that weekly on their podcast, Skip Town All-Stars. It's awesome. It's so fun to watch their journey in this adventure. So if you haven't checked them out yet, I highly recommend you do. I hope you enjoy this episode. It was a great conversation, nice and long, and it was nice to have Bert come in and be part of it. So thank you, Denise. Thank you, James. Thank you, Bert. And thank you for coming back every week and for your emails and your comments. You can go to birdieboyproductions.com if you'd like to send me an email. And I hope you enjoy this episode with the Skip Town All-Stars, Denise and James. Oh, I'm a talker too. Somebody said I could talk to a doorknob about navel lint. Does that sound Southern or what?
That does.
And I could talk to a doorknob about navel lint. I mean, I have no problem talking.
That is so
I like talking to people. You know, I wonder if being Southern has something to do with that or not.
For
because
sure.
I think it does.
all you
Time
do
we
is
spend in the South. My goodness, it's like anybody talk to you about anything.
People are friendlier.
It's great.
I wonder if it's because you have more time. Like, you know, when you're in a city, you're running around being a lunatic, but when you're in the country, you like things are just slower, so you have more time, so you can actually engage. Is that why, do you think? Maybe.
I think that's part of it. I actually read an article that makes me think it's about this. Like I was talking about before with blue collar versus white collar, there's a different value system in both of those classes.
Oh, yes.
Right? And a blue collar, I didn't come up with this. I don't remember if it was like a newspaper article or I read it or part of a book. I don't remember where I read it. But I read this woman grew up white collar. Her husband grew up blue collar and is now in the white collar world. And what she became fascinated by the differences in their families when they would go home and visit each other's families. There were marked differences between even just the general conversation and how people related to each other. And so she started researching what really is the difference between these two different communities. And what she discovered was blue collar communities are very invested in the community. For example, when she would go home to her family, they would say, well, what do you do for a living? I'm a lawyer. I'm a doctor. I'm a whatever. When she would go to her husband's family, they would say, how's your family?
Oh.
How are the kids?
Oh, wow.
So she was like, I deduced that a blue collar person takes a job so that they can be with their family. for the most part.
Yeah.
And a white collar person takes a job to earn and achieve and succeed at a certain level. Not that family's not important,
Right.
but it's a kind of a different mentality. So I think that may be accurate to an extent. You know, I know where I grew up, it's all about what's going on in your life. How's your kids? How's your family? How's your neighbor? I'm your neighbor, so I'm going to help you. You know, whatever the community needs is what we do.
Right.
Kind of mentality.
Yeah.
And it is still that way in a white collar world, but it's not the same.
It's not.
Really the value of it is very different. So I wonder if that's what it is in the South, in Florida, because even though people may be white collar in that world, it is definitely more of a blue collar region of the U.S. You know, I don't know.
That could very well be. I mean, I could see that. Can't you?
Oh my, like definitely. I mean, think about all those times I went home and I was like, expecting my family to say, "Oh, how's your career? How's this? How's that?" They didn't care. Like I was in television at that point for 5 years. My mother never asked me a single question, you know?
Isn't that crazy? That's so crazy to me, but this makes sense now. Like
It actually makes me feel a lot better.
Well, what matters is what she probably asked you about was Denise,
the girls
and your girls.
Yep.
And that kind of stuff. How's soccer going for,
Right.
for whoever? And that's probably because that's the way my dad asked about my kids, asked about my husband, asked about my life,
Right.
and doesn't really ask about work. Never
Yeah.
has. Now, and it's not that he doesn't care. It's just that it's lower on his totem pole.
Right.
That is
You
so
know,
interesting.
Isn't that interesting? I read that in an article.
Oh, if you had known that literally 15
Yeah,
years
it could
ago,
save me a
you're
lot of inner turmoil.
for sure. No question. As to
Really?
why
Yeah,
his mom
my you talk about
uninterested, thinking she's uninterested.
what's the word? The word is escaping me at the moment, but like validation was not ever a skill my mom possessed at any age. It didn't matter what I was doing. She was super incurious and disinterested, around, constantly present, just couldn't care less about what was going on with me or my life.
no,
you know.
that's
For
not
your whole life?
That's not true.
Even
though.
when
It's
I was a
just-
kid, she didn't care about football. She didn't care about my girlfriends. She didn't care about,
Mm.
but it was especially true as an adult. Like when I feel like, you feel like you're riding home on your white steed and you're like, look, I've gone out and accomplished a few things. I never got that ever.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Isn't that weird? And my mom and dad were so over the top about him. Like,
Oh, yeah.
oh my gosh, my mom and dad would talk about him all the time. Like
Aw.
all the things he's done.
Oh, nice.
Have you had one or two already? All day.
Why stop now?
I brought a bottle of wine in. If anyone wants a glass, I don't know if you guys want a glass.
Oh, you're
Sure.
pouring yourself a
Sure.
glass there, big
Pour
boy?
myself a glass.
Uh-huh.
And then we have more glasses.
That's a big pour.
Yeah, it is.
Just slow your roll there,
It's
big
a
boy.
generous pour, sir.
I want to be a part of the podcast.
Well, how do you do that?
Well, come sit right here.
You guys sit in the middle.
Do you want to sit?
He's
do you
gonna
want-
sit in the middle.
Halsey, can I be in, can
Would you
slide
like
down
me
the
to?
shot?
Would you like me to step out and you can take over, wife of the party?
No.
You could be Mrs. LeeAnn Kreischer.
What about
Oh,
Halsey, can you
okay.
widen out
That
the
would
shot?
be awesome. Okay, that would be awesome. Mrs. LeeAnn Kreischer. Let's do it.
Are you really joining this podcast?
Let's do
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
Oh, is that okay? Hold on. Is that okay?
Is that too
Okay,
wide?
so
then I need to
you've been
scoot
on a
some.
plane, but you know what we've been saying. You've been on a plane, right? Or you've been in a
I've been on a plane all day.
yeah. What we've been saying is that for us, this is where it all started with your idea.
Hold on. I would like you to look at how many glasses he poured. He offered you one and then did nothing.
I'll handle.
Bert Kreischer, you offered them a glass of wine and then did not pour
Thank you
them
for the
one.
wine.
No, of course, of course.
It's okay. He got his glass, Leanne.
Yeah.
We're all good. We're all good.
This is my life. Hey, you want some wine? Here, get it for yourself. Right?
How are you?
Hey, babe.
I'm good. How you doing?
Little snuggling.
I'm doing good.
Welcome home.
It's good to be home. I was excited. I wanted to get home before. Can you hear me okay, Halston? Okay. I wanted to be home before you guys ended this because I wanted to be a part of this, but I thought I'd be a part of your podcast.
I know. We wanted you to be a part of ours because I actually
I
wanted to
thought
ask
LeeAnn
you
would go first
questions.
and then flip it around.
It doesn't, well, I didn't have a plan.
I know. No, that's fine. That's
We
fine.
wanted to ask you questions about, like, just we're actually talking to LeeAnn the whole time about LeeAnn, like her coming to LA, her stop it. Oh, My God.
There's a star in the room. And you're talking to the fucking person with the telescope.
This is awesome. Okay, we really should
And
have
are we
had him
wide
on.
enough, Halston, for me and her? Awesome. Yeah, no.
There's a star in
No,
this. Is
Leanne's
awesome.
path is really interesting. I do think, and I'm not even fucking around, is that it's really that of selflessness, but finding her direction. Because there was a period where when I started stand-up, I wasn't making any fucking money, and she was working the apartment building to pay our rent. And then as our business grew, she found nooks and crannies to grow her own business, kind of.
I think that's right.
I did ask her that because, and it's not even a gender related thing. I did ask her.
No, women are not as strong as men. I agree. I'm joking.
What I wanted to know is how she didn't get resentful of you because.
Oh, I think she did.
Because she
I'm not resentful of you.
No, I think there had to be. There was a period where she broke a toilet seat.
That was called postpartum depression.
There was a period where.
That was a postpartum.
First of all, I'm the most soft narcissist you'll ever meet.
Oh, all right.
So like right? Is that the term we use?
Soft narcissist? I don't think you're a narcissist. I think you are extremely self-focused. And those are two different things because a narcissist isn't interested in someone else.
It's true. That's true.
But you're just self-focused. You're just like, you just poured yourself. Hey, you want a glass of wine? Super considerate. Pour yourself one, but no one else.
Yeah, but that's how my brain works.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying is you're very self-focused, but you're not selfish. You didn't keep that to yourself. You brought in 4 glasses and offered it, but poured your own glass and was like, I'm done.
Yeah.
That's how you are.
I think that's how my brain works.
Yes.
And so I was wondering earlier when we were talking to LeeAnn, how she didn't get resentful of the fact that she was a writer. She had a film that she sold. And then it was like all of a sudden it was, her supporting you and how she didn't get, most people would get worked up about that. She didn't.
I would have. I still would. God forbid this fucking podcast would get bigger than mine.
Oh, that's our goal, LeeAnn. That's our goal, LeeAnn.
I'll cut off the funding for this real quick. I think that I really think, and I'll answer this because I'm talking better than LeeAnn.
Go right ahead.
I think it was a thing of necessity at the time is that she could do her thing and I could do my thing. I couldn't make a lot of money, but I could make enough cash to get groceries. Mm-hmm. And I think it was just like, you do the road that can make us money. And then I'll do this. And then I'll just put my dream on pause.
That's what you said?
No, that's what you said.
No, she's saying what you said. Yeah. He's thinking what you were thinking. Uh-huh. He's saying what you were thinking. Got it. Yeah.
But,
she actually said something a little different. Mm-hmm. She actually said that she looked at you two as a team, which I was like, it takes a very special person to do that. There's no question about that. Like that she thought of you two as a team.
You don't think I thought of us as a team?
No, I definitely, you definitely did. I definitely was, I definitely have never been.
Was self-focused.
I was self-focused. Yeah. I was like, I looked at myself as me. And I was like, if I don't make something out of this, I have no teammate in this. Meaning, no, don't fucking do that. Meaning like I couldn't read books to the kids. I couldn't sit with the girls and read books. It made me crazy because I felt like I was letting us down. And I couldn't enjoy certain things in the girls' childhoods because I felt like a failure. And so I've talked very intimately about this lately. So I'm going through a thing with my happiness journal where I've been writing in it every day. And I've been trying to like focus on, feel like I have a lot of shortcomings as a parent. And so I'm trying to figure out where those things happened when I was married to LeeAnn and I just was not a dialed in parent the way LeeAnn was. And I think I just was so fucking uber focused on success.
Yeah.
But for me, it wasn't fame and it wasn't applaud and it wasn't bigger venues. It was just making enough money to make sure we could pay for shit.
Yeah.
Because I did feel like a failure. I felt like a hardcore failure.
Well, I think that I've said this to you a million times. I think that you misremember.
Cheers. It's good seeing you guys again. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. It's good seeing you guys again. It's good seeing you guys again.
Cheers. Cheers. I think you misremember because I said this on our podcast together. When I was working, you were the daddy on duty. So you were plugged in. I think your feelings of not being as plugged in was later when they were older.
But
when they were little and you would take them to Ralph's and buy groceries and cook dinner.
But even still,
bath.
is there a parent out there that can understand what I'm saying? Is that, have you ever been a parent where you're
he always feels like he didn't do enough.
Oh,
yeah.
Where I was like, even like when I took him to the grocery store, I was writing jokes in my head and I'm thinking about other things and I'm just a little bit disconnected.
Being present is difficult, when you're amping, when you like want to make something of yourself and take care of your family, or just, like you said, just have like security, comfort and all that. I feel like it's pretty hard to stay on that path of like, oh, your shoe's untied, It's like,
It's also sometimes not to be male, female, but it's a little more natural for women to listen. Women do this thing called webbing, where they do multiple things at the same time, like a spider building a web, where it can go in different directions and change direction. Now you have this big web. Men's brains don't work like that. And it's just a biological thing. Yeah. Most men don't web. They do like one thing very directly. And so when they don't see the shoe untied, where we would go, how can you not see the shoe untied? Because our brain is webbing.
Yeah.
I think it's a biological. It's not even intentional. It's just how the different.
But don't you think also to be, and this was something that we were going to ask if he were here when we were interviewing you, but we've discussed this ourselves, that we know people who could have been Bert, like our friends that could have been Bert, but you need to be super focused and have somebody who supports you. And I know you've talked about this a lot on your podcast about your parents and how they were supportive. You can't, you have to be this.
There has to
in order to be successful.
Yeah,
There's
there
no
has
question.
To be a little bit. I wish I had my phone on me and I would walk you through. I actually was writing down, this is going to sound heavy, but it's not. But the mental illness parts of my brain that got me to succeed. Last night we got into talk. We were in Alaska and we got this great weed called Chernobyl. And me and Mark Smalls
sounds explosive.
Me and Mark Smalls were getting into a conversation about all weekend. I was with some younger comics and they were like, what's some advice you give us? What's some advice you could give us to succeed? And last night, Mark Smalls and I got into a deep conversation and I said, and I tried to do a self-help book as a joke, but it is true about the things that drive me. And like number one's treats. LeeAnn knows that my treats are like, if I don't get treats, I won't work. And then a flip side of treats are punishment, like being punitive in the mornings. And if I'm not punitive, I literally wrote a fucking list on my phone today of like working through my brain of going like last night when I got on stage, there was we had spotlights. Normally you don't do a ton of spotlights, but the venues we're doing now, you do spotlights. And I feel brightness hit me when I get on stage. And I said, I wonder if I can't get the brightness without the darkness in the mornings. That darkness I get in the mornings where I feel guilty. I feel horrible. I feel like you're fucking your life up. You're ruining your life. Get up, go to the gym, do 115 burpees, do 115 push-ups, with this almost astronomical. But I wonder if like there's a part of like actual mental illness that goes into being successful in this business.
I think
I think there is. Yeah,
there has to be.
I would totally agree. I can't turn it off. I mean, I have a difficult time disconnecting from like, we were great 3 or 4 months on the road, however long it was. Yeah. And then I'm bad in the middle. I'm bad when there's nothing going on. It's just time to kick it and have a great party time. I'm great. When it's time for business, I'm great. Somewhere in the middle, limbo, waiting for this, waiting for that. Like we're waiting for flooring to be delivered. I'm nuts. I'm bouncing off the walls. I can't handle it.
I can't stand breaks, like a break of time. Like there's a period of time where I can enjoy it a little bit, but I'd rather be busy all day. And I hate being busy and I shit on Peter I drive him nuts. I drive him fucking nuts.
He's not the only one you drive nuts
Aw.
with that.
Drive everyone
I'm
nuts.
exhausted. I'm so overwhelmed. I'm so overwhelmed. And then
Yesterday
I go,
I-
solution. And he goes, nah.
Nah.
I'm so overwhelmed. I'm like,
Denise can relate to that for
Yeah.
sure.
I mean, I feel like there's a part of, I wouldn't wish it on my kids, but I wouldn't wish what I think is happening to them,
what?
which is meaning like I didn't grow up. I grew up with like almost like sternness in my life. You know, Georgia came home with a septum piercing, right?
Yeah.
Did not know
I
that,
did not
no.
know about the septum piercing. No.
Yeah.
I thought that she just came home. I'm like, oh yeah, no, we know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so,
She
yeah.
just, okay. That had to be painful.
Her friend did it in the dorm room.
Shut. No.
Yeah. And so-
There's no sanitary requirements
No.
there. Okay.
Yeah.
No
As a
health
parent,
department.
As a parent, let me tell you how my dad would parent it. No fucking way. Get that shit out of your fucking face right now. That's how I felt. But then I know that I didn't like when my dad did that to me.
Mm-hmm.
And it didn't work.
Well, yeah, it did kind of.
You kind of do whatever you want to do.
I'm like, and so I was like, fuck. I guess the rule is you just fucking support them.
Well, the hard part is she's 18.
I don't
What are
know.
you gonna
That's
do?
tough. I mean, that's
She's
really
18.
hard. I don't know. I still think you can say how you feel though, as
Oh,
a parent.
totally.
Like
100%.
I would say to Ellie, that's just like, I would just tell her how I felt about it.
Yeah.
I'd probably make Ellie take it out. I'm not going to lie. I'm kind of like that. I'm sorry. That's
Yeah,
just
you
how
would've.
I am. I'm kind of like that.
Yeah,
You're
well,
so more easy laid back
but I
and
think-
easy
I think a
going.
lot
Oh
of
my
that-
God. That's why Ellie loves you.
I think that's a little bit of my, I had an epiphany. This is turning into my podcast, and
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
But I had an epiphany this weekend. It has to be so ultimately embarrassing to be my daughter. Like, because I've talked ad nauseum about them
Mhm.
not just on specials,
I know.
on podcasts,
Everywhere. It's
on
everywhere, Bert.
Instagram,
It's everywhere.
on everywhere. And there's got to be a little bit of pushback that I have to be cool with,
Mhm.
that I have to understand and go, oh, this is like the time I said she wasn't comfortable getting her period.
Right.
You know, like the things, all the things I've said that I go, I thought this was doing good.
Mm-hmm.
You know, where I talk about having sex with her mom on a
Oh, yeah.
on a fucking
Uh-huh.
Netflix,
Uh-huh.
the
Yeah.
biggest platform in the fucking world.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
There's got to be that.
So what
So-
do you do now? Like that, like, what do you do now? Like you're you.
That's when you talk about a good partner. I go, yeah, what do I do now?
LeeAnn, what does he do now?
What I try to do, because I hear his side, I hear our girl's
Well, you
side.
weren't cool with the septum
I
piercing.
was not, and I told her I wasn't, and I told her why. And
She's really pretty, and the septum piercing takes away from that. Like,
Thank you. Thank
like
you.
I
Thank
mean,
you.
honestly,
We sound really
but
old
I
saying
can't
that, but
say
it's
that
true.
to her. I can't say that to her. I
I'll
can't
say
say
it.
you're really pretty, and you.
I text her. I'll tell her.
I can't do that because my childhood was spent hearing you're ugly. So I hear that as now you're ugly. So I can't say
Oh.
that to her. I know it's not what you mean,
Yeah.
but that's what it would
Right.
feel like coming from my
Okay.
mouth
Okay.
because I'm her mother.
Yeah.
You're not her mother, so
Right.
you don't have the same impact.
Yeah.
But I told her, I said, I don't know why you did that. I don't like it. I don't understand why you need it. I think it's kind of weird. I think it looks kind of like, now all I look at on your face
I
is
know.
that. I'm
Uh-huh.
not looking at your face. And the same with the hair. So this is what I think is happening. I think that she is searching for herself. So she is dyeing her hair fire engine red.
Mm-hmm.
She gave me a reasonable, she said, listen, I did it here. I didn't do it on the outside of my nose because your septum grows back really fast and I can just take it out.
That just seems painful.
So
as
there's
hell.
no permanent. And I went, I can't disagree with that. But her reasoning is not bad.
It's not,
It is
I
something
was
she
more
can
grateful.
tuck in her nose.
But a fucking nose piercing is cool. Like a little nose piercing, it's kind of sexy. Like this is like, hey, do you guys want to buy some of my patchouli oil?
Right.
Like it's
But
just,
that's her searching for who she is. And the thing is, to push
she's
her.
allowed to. She's allowed to.
Exactly.
I had to do it. I never did it. But I never
I
did-
wasn't allowed to do it.
I wasn't allowed to
So-
do it either. Really.
Okay,
know
so
I
here's my
wasn't
question though. At what
allowed.
point do you draw the line then? Like, I'm just curious.
I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. I very clearly told her how I feel. I wish
Yeah.
you hadn't done that. I don't like that.
Yeah.
I'd love it if you'd take it out. But you know, my friend was here yesterday or the day before podcasting who has the same age,
Uh-huh.
freshman and
College.
college. is going to an art school and texted her and said, I've done something you're going to be unhappy about. And the mom's like, oh my God. She has tattoos that are the size of my hands on her chest.
Boy, of hands?
No,
The
it's
size of her hands. The size of her
I
hands.
know the size of her hands.
They're
Which are big.
branches
Yeah.
with leaves on
Oh,
them.
trees. Okay.
And they take
Okay.
up the whole thing. And then I go to myself, I'll take the septum piercing because you can take it out
And it will grow
and
back.
no one can see it. That you can't take
You're
off.
right. And nobody understands. I've said this to all of our girls. The tattoo you get at 19 will not be the tattoo you want at 35. Like what the
Or
hell?
55 when everything's
are
all
you
crepey.
thinking? Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
forget
But
it.
I don't think
It's terrible.
I
It's
don't
too
think-
young.
I
It's
think
too young.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it's way too young.
It's too young. And the septum, I think, is too young too.
Oh, I do.
But she is right. She can take it out. It will grow back really fast. And I really think this is about her trying to figure out who she is. And we have to give her a safe place to do that. If we make it hard for her to come home and go, hey, I'm trying this part of my personality, she will stop doing it.
Yeah.
And she'll do it behind her back.
It's better this than fucking Coke with fentanyl in it. You know, I guess.
That is
No,
true.
for sure. No,
Or
But,
tattoos
like, I
on
guess
her
that's the
chest.
thing you
Or
land
tattoos on
on
her
is
chest.
that you go, yeah, fuck around with your body, figure it out. I mean, if you get a couple of regrettable tattoos, then that's,
And you learn that lesson.
and then you learn that lesson, and then one day you go, hey, Dad, can I borrow 10 grand to get this removed?
yeah, to get this removed.
And I
Sure.
go, 100%.
Yeah. Do you think there's a portion of her
I got
that's
you.
like, because it's temporary, subconsciously, where she's just like, this is just nudging my parents and I can undo this later?
Maybe some nudging. I really genuinely think it's her trying to figure out who
Okay.
she is. I really do. I think that, I hope Georgia doesn't listen to this, but
Then
she's
don't say it.
she's always been someone who's, well, I've said this to her before. Sometimes she tries on other personalities a little bit.
Hmm.
And then she'll
like a
go,
chameleon, whoever she's hanging out with.
yes.
Okay.
I
a little bit.
Let's
guilty
hope
of
that that's what this is. Because
I
I was
did
guilty
that.
of that.
the
I
roommate,
did that when I was young.
Yeah.
A lot of people do that because that's how you figure out
Yeah.
who you are.
Yeah.
I never did that. And guess what? I had very few friends because I was like, I don't do that. So then I didn't have good friends until I was 30
Okay.
because I was like, I'm not morphing for anybody.
Okay.
This is it, like it or not. And a lot of times it was a not because that person is trying to figure out who they are.
Mhm.
So that strong personality of the definite, I know who I am, is not comfortable for other people. So it took me I had to age into friends.
Got it.
Whereas Georgia's not doing that. She's being exactly her age with a peer group that makes her feel comfortable in this moment.
Let's just also pivot and say, and this is where I think this is where I try to let a lot of this land is they also got robbed of 2 years.
Yeah.
They did.
2 years of like
Figuring this out.
legit
Yeah.
fucking around,
It's true.
making mistakes, making bad mistakes.
Right.
You forget how valuable a bad mistake is. Like flipping a car and being like, fuck,
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
I
we're
want-
alive.
in the
Yeah.
safety of your home with your parents.
Mhm.
They didn't get that.
No, they
Right.
didn't. You're right.
I think there's yeah. I am not super
I think we're gonna have a
worried
lot
about
of
it,
fucking
but
at-risk fucking Gen whatever they are, just fucking rolling dice.
Yeah, the next 10 years are going to be real indicative of
They're
how
gonna
America
be
goes,
interesting, right?
Fuck it, let's invade Russia.
Yeah, totally.
I mean, we're the only country really. No. China's done it.
Yeah.
I guess all the countries have done it, right?
A lot of
Russia
European
didn't-
countries had lockdowns.
but like, I mean, there's like legit
fallout.
mental. Yeah, there's
Oh.
There's some
mental.
fallout. Yeah.
There is a mental, there's something mentally going on with all these kids that had, and adults too, that had 2 years of isolation.
Mhm.
Like, yeah, there's no question about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Aw.
I
So wait,
felt
let's-
it. You've said it to me. You've told me like you need to get outside.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, he got stir crazy. Yeah, for 100%.
Right. Well,
Yeah.
not to put it too much in your court, but I
Oh,
know that
shit.
you pierced some ears, had
Oh,
some
don't-
long
hold on.
hair,
Hold
and
on.
all that stuff in college
Heavy
that
metal
your dad
doesn't
was
count.
not cool.
Heavy metal
with.
doesn't count, Leanne.
Heavy metal doesn't
He
count.
was like Pearl Jam, that kind of stuff.
Oh, okay.
So,
Grunge, still heavy.
and your dad and mom were not cool with that and probably thought you were like, oh my God, he's never going to make it in life. You know,
Oh, my dad's still uncomfortable. a
you
little
maybe
bit with who I
didn't
am.
mutilate
Is he?
yourself, which is a
Yeah.
piercing.
Really?
But
Yeah.
Why?
I think he's less uncomfortable. I hope he never listens to this. He's less uncomfortable now that I can afford him with the luxuries that maybe he
That
really
is
enjoys.
awesome that you do that, by the way.
But I think, and I think my dad's not a celebrity guy, like for him, but he is in life. Like if he had like a football player come into his office, he'd be like, bro, buddy, Warren Sapp came in today. So like, I know it's not, I know that it doesn't register with him and my mom that I'm famous, but fame does register with them. Right. So it's not like they're a little protective of me, I think, but it does register. I know it registers with them. Like when people say, this is where it registers. When they go to Publix and someone goes, Kreischer, any relation to Bert Kreischer? That's where it registers.
Awesome.
Okay,
that's awesome.
That's the
Are
only
you
dad,
kidding?
like,
I'm the original Kreischer.
Oh yeah, and you can see it with my dad. Like if I get recognized around my dad,
his eyes light up.
Yeah, he goes. I'm the funny one or whatever. Like he'll like play it up.
But he's not. He's the art of it. What he does on stage makes him very uncomfortable.
Makes me who I am.
Makes him very nervous.
Who I am makes him very uncomfortable.
Let's put it this way: he is Brooks Brothers.
Oh yeah,
like head to toe.
Well, no, we know he's talked a lot about him on the podcast, and we know he was an attorney.
Yeah.
But you've also shared, both of you. He was very supportive.
Yes.
Your whole
they both were.
I would say, I mean this in all sincerity, begrudgingly supportive in a way where I think he was like, fine, fuck it. Yeah, let's.
I don't know if I entirely agree with that.
Well, I don't think my dad ever thought this would happen.
He couldn't have supported you though without the thought it was going to happen, don't you? I mean, there had to be. He
just was like, I don't have an alternative.
Oh, you really do?
He lives in New York. The rent is $800 a month. I don't know what to do. He just got fired from Barnes and Noble,
right?
And he says he's got a plan. And my dad gave me a real break-off speech, like really lit me up. That I think that I learned too much from and tried to give to our daughters every time I ever parented.
What was the speech? You do have to tell. You do have to tell it
quite a bit. It has been repeated, and sometimes it is not the correct speech. Yeah. You're right about that.
I got the best speech of my life. So like sometimes you get advice where you go, God damn it, that was the best fucking advice I ever got.
Well, that's not what you said at the time.
Of course not.
It's my 26th birthday. I was fucking around in New York. I wasn't doing anything.
How old? 26? Is
26. Yeah, I graduated college when I was 25. Right. So it's like not like I was in New York for a long time. And
double majors take a while.
Yeah. It was
a double minor. Single major, double minor.
And I got a call on my birthday, the morning of my birthday, and I saw it was from my dad. I was sleeping on the couch in our loft. I answered. I thought I'll just answer it, and he'll say happy birthday, and then I can go thanks. I'm hungover as fucking shit. We were partying all night, and he said something to the effect of, "You are a piece of shit," and I was like, "Huh?" And he was like, I just perjured myself in court. I perjured myself in court because of you. I remember that so vividly because I knew a lot of the judges he worked with. Because when I was a kid, he'd take me in and I'd stand up, young Mr. Kreischer, I perjured myself. Fucking, what's his name said, Mr. Kreischer, how's your son doing in New York? And I said, he's doing great. And I lied. I fucking lied. I've never perjured myself in court. And I fucking lied. And I was like, I said to him, it's my birthday. And he goes, I know it's your fucking birthday. That's why I'm giving you this call. You are a piece of shit. And you're not doing anything with your life. And you're never going to do anything with your life. And I failed you as a father. And it was like a great, great, great aggressive speech that you need to hear. I taught you no humility. You have no humility. You'll never learn humility. I don't know what to do with you. If you want to be a party boy the rest of your life, then we can do that. I have money. I can afford that. We'll figure something out later. But you're a piece of garbage. And my dad, if he heard this, he'd be like, I wasn't that rough.
Right.
But those are the things you catch on to. Those are the things you hang your hat on. And then I'm not this person at all, or I wasn't at the time. I wasn't a submit person, but in a moment of
when are you a submit person?
And sometimes
Are you? Okay.
in a moment of like,
I'd love to see that.
then I guess a moment of clarity. I said, "How can I change this?" And he said, "You can't." And I think I was trying to prove him wrong, maybe.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Tell me how to change this. If I'm this person you say I am, be my dad and help me get through this." And he was like, "Then you go to the comedy club." And I was like, "Dad, I've been doing that every night." And he goes, "No, you're doing it wrong because you have no humility. And I raised the wrong man. Let me tell you something. There's men that mop up at the end of the night to get the job to be the manager. There are young kids in Harlem." I remember that very distinctly. My dad is extremely fucking liberal.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes, "There are young kids in Harlem who have not been raised with the opportunity that you have in your life. And they will bust their fucking ass. And they'll be successful in this business because they're willing to do anything to get there. And you're not. And I raised you wrong. I fucked up." And I was like, "Okay, just tell me what to do." He goes, "You go to that comedy club and you tell them, I'll do anything in the world to get to the next level. I'll grill burgers. I'll mop up. I'll set up the tables. I'll do whatever." I said, "Dad, that's not how it works." He goes, "That's not how it works for you. But that's how it works for everyone else in this world." So I went that night and I did everything he said. I mean, I literally waited till the end of the night. I went up to the guy, Louis Schaefer. I said, "Hey, my name's Bert." And he goes, "I know who you are. I've been hanging out every night."
Mm-hmm.
I said, "Listen, man, I really want to be a comedian. Can you give me some advice? Tell me what to do." And he was like, "Move back to Florida." And I was almost excited to hear that news. So I was like, "Great, my job's over. Now I get to go to my birthday." I remember telling my dad, "I can't do that tonight, Dad. I have a birthday party planned." And he goes, "You haven't earned a party. You have not earned a party." So I said that. I got it done with. I went to the party. We went to McDougal Ale House. We all partied all night. I woke up the next morning. I called my dad and I said, "Here's what's happened." And he goes, "Fantastic." That energy is the energy that is the punitive energy I wake up with every day. "Fantastic. We do it again." And I said, "What?" And he goes, "You go right back there. You go, 'Hey, my name's Bert. Don't pretend you never had the conversation last night. Start all over. My name's Bert Kreischer. I'm from Florida. I want to be a comedian. What can I do to go about this?' And then let him know, if he shuts you down, let him know you'll be doing this every single night until the day he fucking dies."
Right.
And I was like, "All right." So I'm like, "Fucking, this isn't going to work." So I go that night. I do the thing. The guy's like, "Well, I told you to move out to Florida." I go, "Look, dude, here's the deal. I'm going to be doing this every fucking night for the rest of my fucking life."
Can we just cut to the end here?
My dad's like fucking pissed at me. It was my birthday yesterday. I didn't get to have a party. And I was like,
And he called and yelled at me.
I was
There's
like,
no treat for me.
I
No
turned
treat.
26 today. I didn't get to have a party. I wrote my goals down. My dad's up my ass. I go, "Can you help me out at all?" The guy goes,
Dad's on my
the guy
ass.
goes, "If you bark at the front door and you can bring in 25 people, at the end of the night, I'll let you go up and do stand up." And I went,
Ooh.
and he goes, "And I'll give you $25. And I was like, all I thought was, that's beer money. And I was like, "For real?" And he goes, "Yeah." And I was like, "Okay, cool." That night, this is only for people that are not a fan of this podcast, but it's so interesting. It's such a great story if you're a comedy fan. That night, you don't know these people. Patrice O'Neill, Jim Norton, Bobby Kelly, Rich Voss, they were all sitting out front. They're all huge.
I know. Yeah, I know
comics.
3 of those names.
They're all the biggest comics, and the class above me at the time. Patrice O'Neill, who's passed away, and was a very big, very, very, very big part of my life, was catcalling women. I grew up in Florida. I never catcalled a woman in my entire life, and ever in my entire life. We live in cul-de-sacs, and so
Yeah.
so
It's not a lot of foot traffic.
yeah, I was blown away by the fact that he would catcall. I'd never seen that. And I said out loud, now I don't barely know these guys,
Yeah.
and I now have a job working the door. I said, "I can't believe you think that would work." And he goes, "It works." And I went, "It doesn't." And he goes, "What would you do?" And a beautiful, beautiful, probably 35-year-old woman walked by, and I said, "You look," and then by the way, I'm barking, so I'm talking to people on the street anyway.
Yeah.
So I'm comfortable with that. And I go, "You look like you've had a rough day. Why don't I buy you a glass of wine and we talk about it?" And she looked at me and laughed and said, "No." And then they mocked me.
Uh-huh.
I didn't give a shit. I, by the way, I was trying to sell her comedy club tickets anyway.
Right.
She turned around and she said in front of all these guys, she goes, you know what? I'll take you up on the glass of wine. And I looked at her and I went, I can't. He said, why not? And I said, I just got the job of my dreams. I'm parking at the fucking comedy club. This is my dream. You're not my dream. This is my dream. And they were like, what the fuck? She was beautiful, tall as shit, like 5'10". And they were like, she was like, so you're not going to buy me a glass of wine? And I went, I'm going to stay here on the street and try to get customers in this comedy club. And then Patrice's like, I'll fuck you. And she was like, no, and left. But that conversation, I think I've done this with my daughters a number of times. That conversation with my dad, it changed my life forever. It changed my life and it changed my perspective. Mm-hmm. Humility was like number one. It's not, I don't know if it still is, at times it is, but it's like that thing. And I've done that to our girls.
Well, the problem is, the difference is you were 26 and they're like 14. So they haven't really developed enough to make mistakes to deserve that talking to.
Yeah, but the same thing happened with old school parents who used to hit their kids and they'd be like, I got beat the fuck
It
up.
doesn't mean that's necessarily the best
Did you
method.
guys get hit when you were kids?
All the time.
Yeah, me too.
Shoes thrown
I got
at me.
hit with
Like
everything.
my mom was like a sharpshooter.
I got
with
hit
the
with a
shoes.
Hot Wheels track. I got hit with
Hot
one of
Wheels
those
track.
big wall spoons that every country house had.
Yeah.
I got hit. Yeah, she broke the wall spoon on the chair trying to hit me. I laughed. Then she beat me with my own Hot Wheels track.
Oh, I
was
got
a
a
bad
belt.
day.
I got a belt, or I'd have to cut my own switch.
We spanked. We weren't popular for it, but we spanked. I swear it worked.
To a certain age,
the
yeah.
girls still talk about it. Like they'll go in the mall and we'll be shopping and there'll be kids misbehaving and Ellie will nudge Mia and they'll look at me and they're like, that kid needs a spanking.
Isla got spanked once.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I spanked either one.
My favorite story.
I did. I spanked her once.
She was at our at the lake.
My dad has a lake house with his siblings,
Uh-huh.
two sisters and a brother. And my dad's sisters are very particular about their furniture. You don't eat on the furniture. You don't,
Right.
no
It's
feet on the
for sit.
furniture. No wet bodies on the furniture. It's take care of that furniture.
And Isla's in a bathing suit, jumping on the
4.
furniture.
Oh,
She's 4.
Jumping up and down on the furniture. And I go, Isla, get down. She does, Isla, get down. Isla, get down. And she
And
goes,
one of the aunts goes, you will not disrespect our furniture, Isla. Get down.
and then Isla goes, and spit on the couch. And I went, that's it, in the bedroom.
Yeah.
And I gave her a spanking and I went, I'm spanking you because of this, and spanked her. And I came back out. She cried a little bit and came back out. But that's
that was
all I
it. That was
can
one and only spank.
say. Mhm.
Oh, okay.
I stopped for the most part when
He would
they were out
spank
of
once in a
diapers.
while.
Yeah. But you know, being the dad, it's like, I'm the fun guy. I show up. We already
Yeah.
talked about this. I show
Yeah,
up for a
yeah.
couple
Yeah.
days. I can't be the one always paddling people.
Right, right.
But there were moments like if they went to touch the hot grill and they were threatening me or whatever, they get a little swat on the butt. But yeah, Denise
I was a
was not
spanker
afraid.
for sure. No problem with it.
Yeah.
I still think that's why they were pretty well behaved. Like my kids were always really good at birthday parties. I would spank in anyone's house, but I would go in the
Really?
bathroom and do it. So yeah, if we were out and they were misbehaving at a restaurant, I'm like, okay, let's go in the bathroom. I'd clear that bathroom, make sure no one was in there, and then I'd spank them in a stall.
Yeah.
So they knew I would spank anywhere. So they couldn't like some kids are like, I'm in public, you can't spank me. I'm like, let's go. Do you want to try me right now?
Right.
So
We got put in the car.
Oh,
I remember
we
in
did that.
Florida.
In
In Florida.
Ooh.
My mom's gonna hate this. She would fucking be like, you go in the car. And she would put me in the fucking car.
Was the car facing where you can see everyone else in the family
where
enjoying
everybody's
themselves?
at, where all your siblings
No.
are eating French fries. and-
I remember one time it was so hot
Oh,
in this
shit.
fucking Malibu that I was sitting in the back and I remember
Sweaty.
jokingly saying I was cooling my face with the seatbelts. That's how hot it was in the fucking car. And we were at University Mall. My mom put me in the car and I was like, this fucking sucks.
Did you behave after that?
Probably
No,
not.
No.
I don't know if I guess what they call corporal punishment. I don't know if it works. I know that I don't know. I take that back. I know that I had a very unruly time in high school, and
High school is different.
Yeah,
no, you're not.
yeah,
getting
but it got
spanked in high
physical. It
school.
got physical. It got physical in that I'd punch walls and I was a little but I was trying on behaviors, I think.
Yeah.
I don't think I was initially a guy who was ever going to punch a wall.
Was there still corporal punishment in high schools when you went? Like at my school, they would crack you.
Yeah.
I got cracked all the time.
Yeah.
I would take
Seriously?
the cracks
Yeah.
over
In high school?
detention.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
Yeah,
they've had
I-
them in high school.
I would take the
Did you
cracks
have
over
I got
detention.
smacked across the chest by a priest. You, Mr. Kreischer, are an asshole. And he slapped me across the chest in front of my mother.
No.
And my mom said, I can't disagree with him.
this was in high school.
Yeah, Father McGinn. I'm sure he's dead now.
Oh my gosh.
Or been busted for whatever
Well,
priests do.
We
Right.
did. You did not. Just
100%. I mean, I like, look, I still wear all the jewelry. We go to the Vatican. We go there.
Yeah, no, I'm Catholic, I know.
I'm a team player.
yeah, I know.
But like,
I'm not.
I look back and
I
I
know you're
just
not.
I just
I'm
don't.
not Catholic. Nope.
But yeah, I got slapped across the chest. I got hit by a coach through a. But I mean, like, but I mean, like that
was
kind
in
of
the
shit
day.
happened.
Yeah.
But you just were like, I don't know if the right thing is like you just go. This sounds crazy, but I deserved it. Or you tried to have ownership. I
Yeah.
think.
Well, because the village would be staring at you and you would
Yeah.
convince yourself immediately, like, oh, I guess.
Because if you went home and told your dad that the coach hit you or your mom back then, if I did, they'd be like, "What'd you do?" Like nobody was
first
like,
thing.
"What? He should never have touched you." They'd be like, "What'd you do?"
Yeah. What did you do?
So it kind of does make you feel like you probably deserved it in some way, but he probably shouldn't have hit you. But
Coaches, I have a very little carved out place in my heart for coaches because I believe coaches should have more leeway than parents. I think great coaching is so valuable, but I take very kindly to coaching. I love coaching. I love being coached. I love being forced to do things I don't want to do.
Mm-hmm.
And I think very kindly of all my past coaches. And I feel like they should be able to do things to
their job.
Yeah, right.
I
Like
agree.
I pitched a thing to me and to Tom, my buddy. We do a podcast, Tom Segura.
Yeah, Tom Segura.
And I said, I want to do a podcast called Two Bears, One Coach, where we sit down with great coaches.
Oh, nice.
Because great coaches can get you to see things you never saw.
Mm-hmm.
And then really reframe the way you look at life. You know, a lot of like, I think LeeAnn is in really great shape right now. She's been with a trainer now for a long time. But I remember it was like, kept going, you need to go to a trainer. You need to go to a trainer. And then once she went to a trainer, Mikkel, who's a badass, she was like, oh, he does things to me. I cried my first time.
Oh,
And I went, that's coaching. In my head, I went, that. I didn't say that to her.
Yeah.
Right.
But I
Because
never played a sport growing up. I've never coached.
oh, okay.
My cheerleading years, our cheerleader coach quit,
Oh, wow.
and I was in charge.
You guys were self-governed.
Cheerleading,
I
I
like it.
was.
No, she was
I
in
like
charge.
okay with the
What an-
principal. It was
That's an
me.
experiment in democracy there.
Yes.
Cheerleaders are running their own thing.
Yeah, she was like, "I'm out. I
Nice.
can't. I don't have
Aw.
time." And there was no one else to take over, so we just coached ourselves. So I never really had that. I didn't take dance classes. I didn't.
What made you cry the first time you coached? I mean, you were
Crabs.
coached. What was it?
Well, I believe in like mind, body, spirit,
Yeah.
and I went to him basically saying, "I'm holding emotions in
Okay.
my body. I
Uh-huh.
can't lose weight in certain places.
Yeah.
I can't get in shape in certain places. I have pain here, and I think it's a lot. Some of it's emotional.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so he got right in it, and it was doing sit-ups, and I just
Oh.
started bawling.
Mm.
I couldn't physically do a complete sit-up,
Mm-hmm.
and he kind of made me,
Uh-huh.
and I just wouldn't push through this certain part of my back that was hurting. And he kept saying, "You're not injuring yourself. You're attached to the wrong thing," and pushed me and made me do the sit-up. And as soon as I completed the sit-up, I started crying. I cried and cried and cried.
Aw.
And I had several sessions early when we were working together where he would hit a certain exercise and I'd cry. And I don't know why. That I didn't have
Yeah.
like, it was that one time. It was not that. It was like trapped trauma, really. That's what he said
I
too, is that
think
you
that,
trap
for sure.
trauma
Yeah.
in your body.
Oh,
And,
the
Yeah.
majority of people in this world can't do. I was listening to a podcast with Rogan and Rick Rubin today, and Rick Rubin was saying he went out to Laird and Gabby's place to do training, and he couldn't do a push-up. He was 300 pounds.
Yeah.
Couldn't do a push-up, and Laird said to him, "Don't say I can't do it. Say I haven't done it yet." shit like that fucking works in your brain.
It does.
does.
It does.
Yeah.
And great coaches work in your brain. They do. And look, not every coach is a great coach.
That's
No,
true.
for
Yeah, Coach was not the best coach in the world.
Ooh, no, he was not.
Yeah. Georgia quit playing softball because of that guy.
yeah, we have
But a great coach can get you to achieve beyond what you ever thought. And then why wouldn't you want? That's why I fucking hate life coaches, because life coaches always suck. It's always
How
such
many
a.
It's like
have
the
you
vast
had?
majority of them.
I would love one. I would love a good life coach.
He never had one.
Can I
so
tell you what I want to
know.
do? This is what I thought. I thought Phil Jackson, best
He-
coach
ever.
ever in the world.
Yes.
You're not going to get any argument from,
No, I'm from
Denise.
Chicago.
She's from
Are you
Chicago,
kidding me?
so-
Love him. He
Except
worshipped the
Dicka.
ground.
Dicka
We do love
or
Dicka.
Jackson?
I know. Stop.
Which one? Pick one. Gun to your head.
It's going to be Jackson for sure.
Phil
Oh,
Jackson.
okay.
Yeah, because he's got the longest record. Like his record's better than Dicka's.
Okay.
Sorry,
So
go ahead.
how much would you pay in future earnings? Give me a percentage for Phil Jackson to live with you guys for a year and coach you in your life.
Oh,
In terms of
God.
percentage,
Meaning every
day we wake up and he's
every
telling us
day-
how to be
every
our
day,
best selves.
He's already made coffee and he goes, "All right, guys, sit down. We're gonna do a little bit of meditation this
we're going to
morning.
be running the triangle offense before breakfast.
Holy cow.
How much?
I like
Give
it.
a percentage, because I'm all about Shark Tanking it. Give me a percentage.
Well, because I'm after a year with Phil Jackson, there's no question we're going to be the best version. We're going to have
Right.
the show is going to explode.
I think we
like,
give him 51.49 because then
Yeah, I think so.
he's going to be.
I give him 90 fucking.
he's going to be inspired.
I give him 90% and
You
walk
get-
away with 100 million.
Right.
I guess
if
you're
you
right.
give
Okay,
him a
that's a good way
majority
of looking-
share,
Yeah,
then
yeah.
he's also going to be
He's-
motivated
he's
to
still
make the
saying-
most out of your sorry
he's
ass.
still
Right.
saying that he's going to walk away with 100 million at 10%, which is probably pretty accurate.
It could be, yeah.
Because he's amazing.
If you gave me, I'm obsessed with David Goggins. I'm obsessed with David Goggins on so many levels. I don't know if you know who he is.
I don't. Who is
So
that?
he's a ex Navy SEAL. I think I'm saying this right. Ex Navy SEAL. I'm sorry if I'm not. Ex Navy SEAL. Friends with Rogan, and he lost a bunch of weight, and he's like an ultra marathon runner. But he's
Okay.
he's a motivational speaker. So this guy, and I'm so sorry, I'm not saying his name right. His name is Jesse Seitzer, and he's married to the lady who created Spanx.
Oh, yeah.
So-
She went to Florida State.
Yeah, I
do you
think I
know
went to
her?
college with her. Yeah.
Okay.
I think I
Yeah.
did.
That's
I
like
mean, I don't think we knew we part each other, but with each
Sarah
other, but-
Blakely.
Yeah.
Right? Isn't that right? I think it's Sarah Blakely.
Yeah, Sarah Blakely. She was tried out, and so they own the Atlanta Hawks, and
Yeah.
Jesse hired David Goggins to live with him for a month, and
Wait, but isn't Jesse? Didn't he own WestJet? Didn't he own WestJet?
yeah, I think he did.
Okay.
I think
What
he's
does
by the
he
way, he's very
But
successful.
why
on his
does he
own.
need? Why does he need a guru? Like,
So
To maximize.
that's because he's fucking great.
To
Because
maximize,
he's
yeah.
fucking great.
You don't know everything, even if
Greatness.
you're that
Yeah,
elite.
Michael Jordan needed Phil
I
Jackson.
know,
He
it's
needed Phil
true.
Jackson.
That's true.
This guy Jesse is a millionaire on his own.
Yeah, easily.
He's a legit dude, but he brings in David Goggins, and David Goggins says the first thing he says to him is, "Embrace the suck.
Oh, yeah.
It's gonna suck." And he'd wake him up at 2 a.m. and go, "It's raining. Let's go for a run." But in a weird fucking way, almost like, I don't know if you were a pledge in college, but like those sucks are the things that get you to
need.
get better.
Yeah.
Right.
And I
So do you want Phil Jackson here?
It isn't. We're never getting them. But I will tell you, I watched this documentary on Phil Jackson and the
Last Dance.
Last Dance.
Yeah, we saw.
And
that.
I thought,
Yeah.
what would I give him to move in with my family and coach us?
Mhm.
And but we got it. Everything he says,
You
is
have to
right.
do it. You have
You
to
gotta do it.
Yeah, you can't be
And then
Dennis
how much-
Rodman and not
How
listen.
much better do you show up on the other side?
How compliant do you think Isla would be?
Considering she's tried to get out of jujitsu, not very.
She didn't try to get out. She said she'd be late.
Oh well,
She just wanted to push it. To
Or
be
who
late.
would be the most compliant?
Probably Bert.
yeah, probably me.
Who'd be the second most compliant? Would it be LeeAnn or would it be
I
Georgia?
think Georgia.
It might
Okay.
be. I don't
That
know.
would
I'm
be my
pretty
guess.
coachable. I do everything my trainer
No,
says.
Leanne's a little bit. Leanne's got a little bit of. There's a little bit of Leanne, like, I don't run.
Mm-hmm.
I'll walk, but I don't run.
Mm-hmm.
And you go, well, you can run. You're like, no, I don't.
I don't like it. I just don't like it. I don't
So
wanna
like
run.
that energy.
Are you going to tell Phil
it's
Jackson
hard
you
to
can't run? You're going to tell Phil Jackson you're not going to
No,
run?
if I hired a coach, listen, I run every day for Mikkel. Mikkel says, get on the treadmill and run, and I do it.
Yeah.
But I do everything my trainer says. That's his purpose. So if Phil Jackson showed up, I'd probably do everything he said because that's his purpose. I don't have to do everything you say. If I did, I would be a freaking Stepford wife. So I can't do that. I have to have my own life too.
Yeah. My point is,
You know that's right. You wouldn't even
would
respect
give
me
him-
if I did everything you
I
said.
would give him
It's so true.
I tried to sell my career to Shark Tank. And I
What?
went to I talked to Nick and I was like, what if we went on Shark Tank as a promotional tool and I sold my touring to Shark Tank? And he goes, well, what's your price point? And I was like, $1 million. He goes, you're way underselling yourself. He's like, I think I can get more for you. He goes, let's put a pin in this, buddy. And I was like, for real? He goes, yeah. But I love a great coach. I love, and I think
change
that's
your
why,
life.
and I think that's what I liked about my dad's advice. And that's where I think I fall short as a parent is sometimes as a parent, you got to let them be Rodman and go to Vegas for the weekend
Totally.
and go.
You got to let them soft fail.
Okay, so I did tell LeeAnn this, and James and I were both saying this, and you weren't here, unfortunately, but we think you guys are amazing parents. I know our interaction with you is so small,
No,
but
yeah,
what we
it must
hear
be, it
from
must be.
Ellie, stop it. But
No, you got great
Ellie
kids. You
spent
got
the
great
whole
kids. You got great
Ellie spent
kids.
the
You
whole
do have
summer,
great kids.
and James has said it best that like teenagers will tell you
They can see right
their
through you.
truth. Like they'll come home, they have spent a night over at someone's house, and they'll come home and say, "Oh, his dad," like, and they'll go off on this person or how they talk to each other or whatever the case may be. You guys are both so generous and kind. Like you engage, and I've said this to LeeAnn, so I'm just saying it to you. Like you guys are both so busy, like both of you, and you spend the time with them. Like, do you know how impactful that is? Like like they come back and they talk about it.
It's not
It's not a what? You went out and bought them candy that you filled up the cart. I still hear about this
Remember from
candy.
Rite Aid when
Yeah,
you
we
filled
got
the
the-
cart
You
with Rite
filled
Aid?
get
up
the
the
candy
cart.
store, yeah.
Like
Movies.
every time they come home and it's always like they did this, they did that. And I'm like, I said to Ellie at one point, you can't go over there anymore if I'm gonna hear any more stories about how
Yeah.
great they are. Like I can't. I'm like, you're not allowed to go.
We're not, and I'm
You're
not.
very thoughtful.
No, I'm not.
You are.
And I'll tell you the only reason is
You are.
Well,
You're
no,
very
hold on.
thoughtful.
The caveat is that you guys are missing in this is that when both your daughters were here a lot,
Yeah.
it meant that I hung out with Georgia.
Aw.
And so that was the caveat is that Georgia got to have her friends over. And even like her friend from Colorado was over all the time.
Okay, so let me just I'm going to say
like,
this
it was
because
cool. It was cool.
People have asked since we've done the podcast, and people have asked all the time. And I said this to LeeAnn, like, how are they? And I'm like, well, our interaction is very limited. Like, we only know them through our kids, but I can tell you that the experience we've had have been they're extremely genuine. This and that. The one thing I can say, and this is the truth, is you didn't know us. We came to your house for a brunch. You did not know us, and all Mia wanted was for Sierra, who you never met, by the way. That's the girl from Colorado.
Yeah.
She just wanted to go to the beach house. And she said, Mom, can we go to the beach house? And all I said was, Mia, maybe you should ask LeeAnn, because Mia had already been to the house. I said, ask LeeAnn. And then we were here and we were talking, and I had said in a passing, oh my gosh, their friend would love to go to the beach. You literally at a brunch stopped down what you were doing. You walked over to LeeAnn. I didn't even see it. Whatever you said to LeeAnn, Pete is now getting kicked out of the beach house.
Pete's not in the beach
The girls
house
are running
anymore.
over to me saying that they can go to the beach house on an overnight. Like, first of all, you did not have to do that. Like, most people wouldn't do that. Like, you're in the middle of a brunch. Like,
Or you say,
like-
yeah, we'll get to it, and it just never
It
happens.
never happens. Like,
right.
you're a good listener. You're generous with your time. I mean, these are all facets of being a good parent. So you need to stop.
Yeah.
Like,
Well,
I
yeah.
agree. You do need to stop.
Yeah.
You're
I think-
way too hard on
I
yourself.
think-
I think I'm pour another glass of wine.
Pour another glass of wine.
I
Too
think-
close to the
Let me tell you.
truth.
I think if you are, I don't know. I
Just say thank you.
thank you.
No, can I just tell you something? I worked as a personal assistant. I want to tell you this story because this will maybe give you some perspective. As a personal assistant for a family for 14 years,
Oh my God.
they had a beach house on in Malibu on Broad Beach. We're talking their neighbors were Sinatra on one side and like Geffen down the street.
Jesus
a private
Christ.
beach, right? It's a $30 million home. I worked there for that many years. They never once, I knew I had 3 daughters. That house was vacant 11 months out of the year. They never once said, would you like to have your daughters like have a day at the beach? Not once.
Well,
And
it should
you
be
didn't-
known. It should be known that my whole team was just in a Sprinter van going, so we can go to the beach, right? I was like, yeah, I guess. And they're like, do you want to go? And I was like, I think I'm going to have to work. And they're like, all right, peace. And they all just left for the fucking beach. Manzy's like, do you want to go surfing tomorrow? I go, Manzy, I have to work. He goes, we have to work? Yeah, well,
my
that's, I
God.
think that is, that sucks.
Yeah,
In
that
my
does.
No,
opinion.
that's normal.
That's
you guys
shitty.
don't understand. That's
But
normal.
I don't think
That
that's
is
normal.
You
really?
don't. You
No.
don't because of
People
the people
can't
you
really
hang out
be
with.
that way.
I think there are
that's
varying
normal.
degrees that probably
That's
lean
normal.
into that anecdote. You know what I mean? Like there are people that will do it. Or,
But for you to stop down at your party and do that and that actually happened is like amazing. So I want to ask you, because I talked to her a little bit about this. How were
Denise
you?
wants to ask you if she can go to the beach house. That's
Yeah.
where this is all leading.
Just by the
You
way,
gotta sleep with Manzy though. Good luck, guys.
Have fun.
I'm
how
down.
do you
Let's do
be? How do you have a team of people? You get stuff done, but you're still very nice because it's easy to get taken advantage of when you're nice. How do you get the job done?
I'm not very nice.
Well, that's not true. I think that
Not
it
very
really
nice.
is that we get taken advantage of probably a little bit.
Do you think so?
Mhm.
Okay.
Of course.
I
Okay.
think we have
I
a hard
think-
time as a head. We give a lot of people a lot of chances, and I think at the end of the day, that ends up getting people. We're
Wait. Why
We-
is
we
he
definitely-
laughing?
compromising our
had-
own.
We're not talking about anyone currently that we work with, but we will
That's
definitely say we've had I definitely have a very big heart because I fuck up. So like I have a rule, you can't ever say I'm sorry I got fucked up, I was inappropriate last night, because I go I'm that way every night. So don't worry about it. If you ever get fucked up and you do something wrong, that's always a pass on me.
Mhm.
It's the sober shit you do that I go, what the fuck was that?
Mhm.
Right.
I think that we definitely are flawed in the other direction.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Because I could see
Too
where
low.
people are like, "Oh, he's cool. I'll come in at 10 instead of 8."
Where they-
Oh, that
where
happens,
they
yeah.
come in,
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Oh yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
that
we have a little bit of that too. I mean, we had a house, like a lady who'd clean our house on Mondays for like 14 years. I promise you, at 9 a.m. and 6 a.m., you could barely tell the difference of the house.
right,
You know?
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
But the kids wouldn't let us like replace her or anything. They
Right.
were like, no, you know.
that's kind of our flaw too.
But you're both so nice and generous, and you open up your house to your employees. So
Mhm.
does that ever draw the
Normal.
line too? Like they're in and out of your
Well,
house.
I think we have a weird. We have a weird thing. I think because you open up your house to your employees, they're a little bit your family.
Yes.
So like there's a
Then what
little
is-
bit of like the leniency you give your family, that you get upset, you get angry, and then you vent it, and then you're like, Halston's not that bad of a podcast producer.
As he's
I mean, there have
listening,
been
as
times.
he's listening
No.
in the other room.
No, but we definitely have had that. We've definitely had that issue. We've definitely had that issue.
with almost everybody.
But
Okay.
but also
I
there's
would
also
think
there's like
so.
this is definitely not the person I'm talking about right now. But like there's like times where people will say to me, "Hey, your bus driver pulled a gun on you," and I was like, "Yeah, but you had to be there." And so like, but I have a real weird thing about I didn't want there to be a separation of state between who I am on stage and who I am off stage, and I think adversely that created a paradigm of like I don't think anyone knew.
There's no ranking.
where
Yeah.
where was
There's
working
no-
Bert and where was
Oh.
not
there's
working
no,
Bert.
There's no perspective on the reason.
Who is the boss then? Are you the boss?
Mm,
LeeAnn is.
I'm a little bit, but I'm also not allowed to be completely.
It does get complicated. It definitely gets
Okay, so
complicated.
I was curious of that because
Yeah.
of both of your kind personalities. Like yeah, okay, that makes
Well,
sense.
I managed people in my apartment building. I
Mhm.
managed the people who lived there, and I had a small staff. So I've had management, very little, but definitely more than Bert's had.
Yeah.
And sometimes I'm not really allowed to manage.
Okay. Okay.
Sometimes I like.
Who says that? I'm sorry. Who said you're not allowed to manage? I'm
Me.
just okay.
Yeah, we've had a similar situation. We were redoing a bathroom and
Not similar.
we had an issue.
They're on a tour, but it's okay. Go ahead.
Well, it's a much smaller example, but we were redoing a bathroom and we were having problems with the contractor and we all had it out and I thought it was settled case law.
Mhm.
And then one day Denise comes back and says to me, the contractor just quit because I had words with him, and
Yeah,
I was like,
yeah.
we had peaceful borders. He was going to finish the job.
Oh,
This
that's
was
the
it.
difference. I have no say in that. Like LeeAnn runs everything.
That's not
No.
true at
Like
all.
you think I'd ever fire a fucking contractor?
Oh, you're talking about with that stuff.
Yeah. Like when it comes to like,
I thought you
we're
meant
not
with
equal
Bert Inc.
in.
Oh, but
in like,
Bert Inc. though, is she? You have the final say in Bert.
We were
Inc.,
talking
though.
about Bert Inc.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, when it comes to who I live with, I mean, I live on a bus, so I live with people.
So she won't let you won't let her fire people on the bus.
No.
Oh, okay. Okay.
But I also find I find value in people that maybe sometimes she doesn't see. Like that.
It's not that I don't see the value. I have less of a problem with a boundary. I have no problem going, here's the boundary. You
Okay.
cross the boundary. Sorry.
We had a guy.
He has no boundaries. The boundaries
Right.
are non-existent. So everybody's all over the place. And I go, the problem is it becomes problematic for him.
Yeah.
So
For
because
sure, I
there's
can
no
see
boundaries, then people are
Right.
like,
Yeah, they think they can come in at 10 when they're supposed to be here at 8, and somebody's starting to shoot at 8 o'clock, and then
or
he
just
doesn't
call
show.
LeeAnn and say, "Yeah, I'm not doing that today. I got into some stuff." And
I'm like, what the fuck? Who does that?
We fired one guy that I felt so bad for because I don't know. I guess I see myself in all these guys because I fucked up so much. So I just saw myself in him, and then you're just like, just give him a. I don't want to leave him high and dry.
Yeah, but break
Right.
after break after
Oh,
break
yeah.
after
You know?
break. And you're
He
like,
needs a dad who's going to have that talk with him.
totally.
Well, and I
That's true.
know the guy so intimately. I know that he has a problem with his dad.
Oh, okay.
and with his brother, and so I'm like, come on, we can.
We can fix this. And I'm like, at what cost?
Right.
Right.
It
It's
costs
true.
you
And at
stress,
what point is it our
time,
responsibility?
energy.
yeah.
And you
that's
have to
that's
look
the
at like
point.
also like his age. Like, is he 40 still fucking up? Because
Yeah.
at 40, you weren't still fucking up.
Right,
like
right.
at 22, you were. At
Yeah.
25, you were. So you have to like take like,
Consider.
okay, exactly. Yeah.
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah.
And I always say my most important job is to protect him.
Yeah.
To make sure he is as stress-free as possible, as problem, drama, catastrophe-free as possible.
How's that working?
It's not great because he won't let me protect him from himself.
okay.
Right.
Okay.
So because he always reinvests and gives another chance and another chance. And I'm like, another chance? Fuck that. The
Should we do
chances
like
have
maybe
gone.
like a number of chances, Bert? Like maybe like we do a number of like
no, because
5,
he'll
a
justify one as
3.
not being a chance.
Right.
No, but you gotta know who your ride or dies are.
Do
Like-
you in this
Yeah,
business?
I do.
Okay.
Like a very small example, and I feel very safe saying this, but my bus driver who pulled a gun on me, I know him.
He didn't pull a gun on
Yeah,
you.
well, yeah,
he pulled
whatever.
a gun out on the
Yeah.
bus.
But I know him very
Pulling
well.
a gun on you is a very different.
I know.
Statement.
But I know him very well, and I know him. I know his character, and I know who he is as a man. I know everything about that guy, and I've known him very intimately. And I would argue he's one of my closer friends I have in this world. And when I go to bed, I know that motherfucker isn't fucking around.
Mm-hmm.
I know that he takes
His job's serious.
takes my life in his hands very seriously.
Mhm.
I know that for a fact.
That's why he carries a
And
gun on the bus.
That's
Yeah,
why he's
yeah,
willing
because
to
he's
kick our
serious.
ass.
And so in a weird way, I go, and that means a lot to me. That lands a lot for me, and I love that guy. I really do love that guy. And there's time you meet people and you connect with people and you go, not fall in love with. I know that sounds weird, but like you fall in love with people.
Yeah.
Like my cameraman, John Mann's fucking useless. Useless. But
This is
but he's the fucking greatest guy in the world. Like he's so much fun, and he's great at, he is a hard worker, and he's great at getting the shots. Like last night, it just sometimes it's the recipe and the thing. Last night we're at whatchamacallit, LeeAnn? We're at the hotel in Alaska, and Victoria's like, hey, I could use a promo to sell merch for Christmas. And Man's like, oh, there's a great location for it. And so we shoot it, and it's fucking great. And then sometimes with Manzi is just like doctoring him up to understand what his job is. So he shoots it, and then he makes the coolest Christmas card for himself with me and posts it. And I go, how come I don't have one of those? And he goes, would you want one? I went, you're my fucking cameraman. I definitely fucking want one. He goes, but you want it like this? And I go, Manzi, this looks fucking amazing. I definitely want that. And he goes, well, you gotta let me know that stuff. And I went, you're my fucking cameraman. And so like, who's that? Who's that?
Isla?
Isla?
She can come
I
in.
think you're squashing the door.
Oh, the door. Isla, how are you?
Hi, baby. Good. How are you? How
Your
was
hair's
school?
cute.
It was good.
Yeah.
It was good, yeah. Sorry, I like totally interrupting. I after this, can we go to like Rite Aid or something?
Yeah, what do you need?
Throat stuff.
Okay. Thank you, baby.
Good to see
Should we
you.
get
hon.
ramen tonight?
I don't know.
Okay.
Do you have a final? You have an ASL final?
Yeah, I just did it.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Well, then you're not going to be late to jiu-jitsu.
She's going into jiu-jitsu. Never mind.
Well, I've done half of it.
Okay.
Riveting
Well, we're in the middle of a podcast.
Riveting
You have jiu-jitsu at 6:30.
Riveting fucking
So finish your
podcast.
ASL, okay? Okay, I love you.
But I think I'm a
Okay.
great parent.
I think you are too.
You were an excellent parent, babe. So the reason they were here for this was we were going to talk about their podcast, but an hour and change later,
This is awesome.
Okay,
we've
so
been
first
talking
off,
about you.
we got to sing accolades to LeeAnn's fans
We
who
did.
have been super supportive of us the whole time, which is great.
LeeAnn's fans are so much better than my fans.
they would probably be a little
they're
more,
the good versions of my fans.
they would probably your fans will probably be a little more ruthless with us,
Yeah,
I'm sure.
I'm
But
sure.
No,
they,
they're
they
just- they're
expect a
just-
higher level of comedy
My-
than we're currently capable of.
my
delivering.
fans are very I think they're straight up comedy fans.
They are.
And I think they're really me fans. Like I think they're like, I'm cool with someone who doesn't listen and talks over everyone. Like I was thinking about that today. I'm like, I'm a bad listener.
Oh.
So yeah. But
No, actually, I disagree because we actually met one of your fans.
We did.
Your mutual
Yeah.
fans in
Really?
Covington, Kentucky. Yes.
Yes.
Ellie ended up playing a tournament in Louisville, and it was
Louisville.
close enough for us to connect with Bert and Jenna Stewart, who both listened to both of your shows.
Oh,
and they're
wow.
huge
Really?
fans.
And took us around for the day to show us,
Aw.
because the whole point of our podcast is we're looking for our next hometown, right?
Yeah.
And
Louisville's fucking badass.
they have been pimping Covington, Kentucky, right across the river from Cincinnati.
Yeah. no, by the way, yeah. But we used to do stand up down there,
Yeah,
and it's fucking awesome.
In
it's a
Covington?
little entertainment.
And right across
Mecca.
the river from Cincinnati.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's such a cute town. It's kind of like the Los Feliz, Silver Lake of that area.
Oh,
It is
amazing.
very, very hip.
They took
That's
us
cool.
to distillery, Second Sight Distillery.
Yeah.
They took us.
sent
They
you
took us to
alcohol from there.
lunch.
Oh, you did?
Yeah,
Yeah.
you did. You got it. You
Oh,
got
yeah,
it. It was
we-
a while
I think I
ago.
did.
I know
You did a
everybody
while
brings
ago.
you
Don't
alcohol.
even
We
worry
brought you
about
even
it.
more this
Yeah,
time.
we
So,
did.
Thank
and
you.
anyway, but you got a lot of work to do over the holiday break, sir. And so anyway, but to your point, no, they actually love. I think each side of their brain is fulfilled by either one of your
Yeah.
podcasts. So
Yeah.
I hate how many people like her. So wait,
Let's go back to him.
so wait, let's,
Enough about her.
So, how much time on the road are you guys spending?
Oh, we actually spent 2 solid months, 10,000 miles. So we made it from California to Florida and then went up the coast and hit a bunch of states that we wanted to hit and went to cities that we wanted to visit to see, could we buy a house here?
yeah.
Yeah.
So
I think it was closer to 3, wasn't it? We did August, September, and into October. So
maybe
right.
a little, no, I missed it, but it's fine.
But anyway, we're about to reboot because after the first of the year, we're heading to Savannah. We're going to do
Oh
Charleston.
my god.
We're going to do Asheville,
Oh,
Knoxville.
fucking Asheville.
We're heading
is
all
the
that way.
motherfucker. Asheville is the fucking party waitress whose feet smell and knows how to pack bongs with her thumbs.
Oh,
What?
Nice.
God.
That's your
It's like if
definition
you're-
of
if you're,
Asheville.
like, looking
I
for
can't wait
chicks.
to see it.
Like the party girl, you're like, motherfucker, someone's gonna fall in love with her. It's not
Oh,
me.
yeah.
Right,
But
right.
god damn it. She is a cool chick. She's
Right.
like, you ever listen to The Dead in Europe? And you're like, what? Oh, Asheville's a badass fucking place.
Yeah. So,
So-
we're ready. We're getting
Yeah.
ready for that right now.
So we're still looking. We ended up buying an investment property in Florida. It's in a retirement community. So it'll be like
I
later
know
on.
the place. I like it.
Do you?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
It's called The Villages.
Yeah,
It's-
no, I like it. Yeah,
Lots
there
of
was a
golf.
documentary on it, right?
Yeah, but that documentary is terrible. That documentary is all about the
no,
crazy people.
But I grew
It's
up
all
in
about
fucking Florida.
No,
Nothing's fair about Florida.
I know. Oh, that is true.
Yeah, I grew up in Florida. Nothing's fair about Florida.
So we did say, I have to tell you, so we've had a little work done on the house because we're renting it out January, February, March. Every service person that walks in,
Yeah.
I've never experienced this ever in my life. They walk in, like if they're coming into, like, let's say they're doing your shower door. Most service workers will be like, hey, I'm here for the shower door. No, they're like, hey, I'm anti-abortion. I voted for Trump. And what's the third one? And I'm God-fearing. Then they're not even their name. And I'm like, showers over there. Like, I cannot tell you every single service
Especially
worker.
when they hear about like, where y'all come from.
Oh.
L.A.
Oh, then they just want to tell us.
Oh,
They
so
wanna
you're
tell us.
liberal, huh?
Yeah.
It's
they
like
just want to tell
instantly,
us.
it's like,
Yeah. Like,
That's what I love
think
about
if this-
Florida.
oh, they don't give up. They don't care.
I think you've been watching too much Newsmax at night, bro.
Yeah.
Just
Dude.
relax. Like
Florida
this
is
is a
next
transaction.
fucking level. There
Yeah,
are
they don't
guys that I
care.
grew up with that I was like, bro, we partied hard as fuck. When did you turn into a hardcore Capitol stormer?
Yeah.
Like,
Total. No, they fly the
Yeah.
So I was in the Villages. We were garage sailing. I actually took a video of it, but I didn't post it just because I don't know. I wasn't comfortable posting it. There are people who have money here. This is not like we're not in a poor section of Florida at all. We're garage sailing in the morning. I'm going with my sister-in-law who's like a professional garage sailor. I look up. It is a White House size flag of the Confederate flag, like in someone's yard.
those
And
are hard to get.
I showed James and I said, look at this. And he goes, they're telling you, fuck off. This is who I am. Like, cause it's so big and it's in front of their house. I'm like, oh, this is crazy. Because I expect to
Wait, so
see
you
that
guys have
in
never
the
lived in the
back
South
country.
before, huh?
No,
I lived in Orlando
that's-
for a couple
no.
of years.
No, I've
The
never lived
fuck
there.
from
I'm from
South.
But nothing like
the South is different than the rest of
I'm
the
from
world.
Chicago.
Yeah.
And I'm not, no.
We had to explain when we landed in Atlanta one year and we were driving through rural Georgia and we got, we were driving past a town square and it had like a huge flag, just like the one she's explaining, where it's like somebody took it off the Washington Monument, but it's a Confederate flag. So it was never on the Washington Monument, but it's that size.
Yeah, it's huge. Yeah,
And,
in town square. In the
It's
small
probably
town.
Georgia state flag.
Yeah, by the way, I mean, I hate
I
to
know
say
they're
this.
close.
No,
I hate
it
to
wasn't.
sound
It wasn't.
callous.
No.
We grew up
Yeah.
with that. Like, we grew
Oh,
up with that.
yeah.
And so it's not like,
Yeah.
as you say it, we're like,
Yeah.
Like, it's we grew up with that.
Yeah.
around
That's so
the-
crazy.
Yeah, but
It is crazy. You know what's really interesting?
It's crazy that it's. Oh, I'm so sorry, baby. I didn't mean to cut you off. But we're talking about the South, so I thought a man's opinion was more strong than a woman's. No, wait. Go ahead. Say.
One of us is from the South and one of us is from Florida.
There you go.
Get
is
a map, Magellan.
Totally different. Florida's totally different than the South.
You know, you can be white and still be scared to be in the South. I have to tell you.
Yeah.
Like people don't get it. Like
yeah.
it's like
You could be. By the way, just for the record, you can be white and be scared to be in Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania is a sketch.
Yeah.
There's parts of this world you can be scared. Detroit's a sketchy place.
Yes,
Like
yes.
North Pennsylvania's at times can be touch and fucking go.
Right.
So, but no. Go ahead. What you were saying about the South. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, I was just going to say about the flag. What's interesting about the Confederate flag is growing up, to me, it symbolized the South. It didn't symbolize racism. It symbolized
Right.
like South versus North. I know as an adult what that means, but as a kid, it was about being proud of where you're from.
It's
Right.
funny growing up in
You know?
Chicago, you were taught that was straight up racism. Like there was no quite when you saw it, you're like, oh, he's a racist, or he's like in Chicago. If you saw anybody with like the bandana or anything, you're like, oh, he's a Nazi. That's totally.
But I would,
Oh, wow.
but
Yeah.
I would offer that over the past 2 decades, with political climates being as highly charged as they are, now when you see a Confederate flag in, say, rural Idaho,
Oh,
that means what you think it means.
Oh, totally.
You know?
Yes. Oh, yeah.
Uh-huh.
Well,
know,
I mean,
even
I
state-
haven't
state
lived in the
shows.
South
Like-
since 1993.
Right.
That was the last
and,
time I lived there.
Like I grew up in Ohio and I've been back there obviously several times in my adult life. And it's like, I see a Confederate flag. I'm like, to your earlier point, like get a flag, Magellan. Like Ohio was not even really a state, but it was definitely in the northern part of the country at the time.
Right.
So
why are
it's-
you flying that?
But I think
Yeah.
between, politics and country music, especially songs that play into that, have changed the whole dynamic of really what throwing that bumper sticker on the back of your car.
I
means.
never would have thought the Confederate flag was flown outside the South until recently because
it is.
no, now it is.
Oh, yeah.
But like in 1975,
No,
76,
yeah,
when
of
I was a
course.
kid,
You're
Nobody,
right.
I remember
it's
there
part
was
of
like,
being in
Yeah.
the southern states.
Yes,
so
agreed.
it meant to me, I understand what it means.
right.
Now I understand what it means. But as a child, it
Right.
meant that you were from
Yeah.
the South, and
Yeah.
it was almost like a state flag,
Yeah.
except like if you had a republic and each
Right.
state had their own
Yeah.
flag, but the republic had the Confederate flag. Obviously, as I've grown up, I understand that it means a lot more than that, and
Sure.
maybe doesn't even mean that, but it did mean that for people when I was a kid.
Yeah. Back then, the most it meant was like, I'm getting high to Leonard Skinner. You know,
Yeah.
Leonard Skinner. I think that was one of their album covers.
Yes.
Yeah, it was.
It was.
So like it wasn't. I mean, I'm not.
But we are white people saying that. I don't know what it meant to a black person in
Well, yeah, that's
1965.
true. Valid.
It
That's very
meant
much.
negative shit.
I'm sure
Yeah.
it did.
And then I think it's fine if you go like, oh, but that's not what it meant to me. But then once you realize, like, for Miss Pat,
no, of
it
course.
it meant like, oh, they don't like me.
I know. It's
Then
like,
you go, well, I like you, and I don't like that flag if it doesn't like you. It's like
Well,
it's a
it's like that's-
conversation that's
here's
way
a-
above our pay
here's
grade.
something
For
that's,
sure.
here's something that is a stupid parallel, but just hear me out. We thought mullets were awesome.
Oh God, that is.
And now
so
we look
true.
back and go, that is wrong.
Yeah.
And that's a light way of paralleling, but we didn't think about that. Now we think about
Well,
that.
when
We
you
would
say
never
you
have a
grew up
mullet
with
now.
it,
Yeah, so-
We
Right.
never-
Mullet.
So
like a haircut.
Is that racist?
No, my point is we thought something was cool then, and
think
now it's
mullets-
not cool.
I think-
I'm saying it's a bad example, but okay, find another example where you clearly
Horrible.
would never repeat
well, yeah.
that.
If one of your daughters
Right
comes
now,
home with
Theo
a guy
Vaughn
with a
is
mullet
losing
right
You're
now,
like, no,
you're like, are you being ironic
Exactly.
or?
No, mullets. By the way,
Exactly.
mullets are back in. Like
You know
mullets-
what I
Yeah,
mean?
oh, yeah,
That's
we've
something
seen
we
that.
thought was cool.
Right.
And now
I
we go,
can't
that's
wait to
definitely
throw
not
you
cool.
under the
I
bus.
understand what you're saying, Leanne.
But that's not cool. The Confederate flag is not cool. But we thought it was cool.
Yeah.
just
I
like we
tried
thought
to buy
mullets
one the
were
other
cool.
day,
You did? Why?
well, they don't sell them anymore.
Wait, where were you trying to buy one?
With a flag
Alaska?
store at a flag store.
Oh, really?
Well, yeah. Well, I went to a flag store and I was because I'm doing a European tour, and I was like, I'll buy all the flags for the European tour. And then I was like, hey, you got a Confederate flag? Like, just curious. And the guy goes, nah. And this guy, by the way, if you run a flag store, for the record, you're pretty Republican.
Right.
It's true.
Normally,
It's
yeah.
There aren't a lot of Democrats
Yeah.
running flag
Yeah.
stores.
Did he have
No,
a
it's
don't
true.
tread
They
on
did
me
not.
flag?
They
Oh my God, wait.
Yes, he did.
He had a don't tread on
They
me
didn't.
flag?
I bought a Trump flag. I bought.
Wow, they
Why
don't-
wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you?
Because we don't
Is it
want one?
2020 or 2024?
2024.
We're going ahead.
You
We're-
still got hope.
We're pressing
guys.
forward.
Oh,
We're pressing
my
forward.
Lord.
Okay.
So I got a
All right.
Trump flag. I got.
Did you get a don't tread on me flag?
No, I didn't.
Uh-huh.
Should I have? But you know that one's racist now.
I know.
Our oldest daughter told me on 4th of July, when your Memorial Day, whatever it was, I was hanging the flag in front of
this is
our
a good
house.
story.
And she goes, you can't do that. You can't put that up. And I'm like, it's the American flag. Like, today's a national holiday. And she goes, no, you should get everybody. Like, I have friends coming over. They're going to all think we're Republican. And
what
I
was
was
your
like,
comment? It was so
and my
good.
comment was like, fuck them. They don't have a monopoly on democracy. you
Yeah,
know,
that's
or
what he
whatever.
said.
Or the
Yes.
flag.
You
They
know, but
don't.
I
They
know.
don't.
Kids
So
don't know what the fuck they're talking about.
it's true. We can, that's
they're
established.
good-hearted kids, but they just don't know.
Right.
They don't. It's like let them fucking be Brittany Griner in a Russian jail
Right.
for 10 months, and trust me, they will be draping themselves on our flag
Oh.
when they get home.
For sure.
Yeah.
Or just have them take a trip to another country where they have to go to a well to get their own water, or there's no running water anywhere, or their sanitation is terrible. Yeah, have them go there. They have no idea.
Yeah, I
This
mean,
is an amazing country, even with all our problems.
I agree.
It's
Absolutely.
amazing.
100%.
And we
Oh.
should all be very proud to be here.
Oh, yeah.
No matter
Actually,
what side
yeah.
of the aisle
It's true.
we're
Yeah.
on. That's
Let's
we're
get
all
back.
the
Let's
same.
just get back to the part
recognize you're on the white side of the aisle. That's all I'm saying.
So your podcast. Back
yes,
to your
okay.
podcast.
Yes.
Only a person with privilege would say such a thing. That's all.
Yeah, he asked how long we've been traveling. So like 2.5 months, and we still haven't found a place yet because we have some favorites, which were really surprising. You wanna
Yeah.
tell them
What
some of
are
our
they? Tell
favorites?
me.
My biggest one is I still find myself jumping on Zillow to find plots of land outside of Oklahoma City.
Really?
Oklahoma City is so fucking
Yeah.
amazing.
It's so great.
So fucking
It's
amazing.
so great.
Legalize marijuana. I got a great spot for you.
Okay.
And they're great plots of land. We spent time right before we did the promo for Fully Loaded. We were at a farm in Oklahoma City. It was fucking amazing.
The best is you
June
can
bugs-
stand on a hill
June bugs
anywhere.
are everywhere.
They are.
You can stand on a hill and it's so flat you can see downtown. Like if you're
Yeah.
20 miles away, you can see downtown. The
Wow.
skies are clear.
Oklahoma
It's
City
great.
is fucking phenomenal.
It's a cool city. Yeah, I like that a
Phenomenal.
lot. What was you had one?
Well, I did, but we can't move there because the girls will never move there. Santa Fe.
Oh, yeah?
It's beautiful,
It
but they
is.
roll up their sidewalks at 8:00.
Yeah.
You can get beautiful homes on decent piece of property, they're a little
Really
bit,
good food, really good restaurants.
The high pricing, the housing prices are a little high, which is still fine, but the food is amazing. The art is amazing. There's no traffic, but there's nothing to do. So as much as I love it, the girls would be like, we're in the middle of like nothing.
Yeah.
So we can't do it. So
No.
Santa Fe was my favorite, but unfortunately can't buy a house there.
Right.
So we're trying to find a place.
Okay.
Oh, sorry, I was going to jump in, and I was
give
going
us a soft pitch.
I was also going to say the whole corridor between Austin and San Antonio, San Marcos, New Braunfels, all these
Braunfels
like
is pretty fucking
Canyon
amazing.
Yeah, we
Lake,
like
all
it. We
these
stayed there.
places.
River.
Like we
Did
spent
you
a lot
float
of
the
time.
river?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've traveled. I have traveled the world
You have.
for probably maybe 6 years, 7 years. So I'm very familiar with a lot of places that I think most people wouldn't. Can I give you a soft pitch?
Yeah,
Do it.
absolutely.
Lighthouse Watchman.
Oh my
Lighthouse
God.
Watchman.
What's that?
There
For you
are,
as a job.
Hold on, hear me out. Hear
Wait,
me out. Hear me out. Hear
as
me
a
out.
job?
Soft pitch. Soft pitch. Soft pitch.
I guess our podcast isn't going
He's
very
speaking
well.
low, hon. It's a soft pitch.
Soft pitch. So there are thousands of lighthouses in America that all need lighthouse attendants
Mm.
for either a summer
Is this
or
something new
winter.
that you just found
no,
out?
No, I've been on this for a while. I've been on this for a long while. And they are gorgeous locations
Yeah.
on the edge of a peninsula with beautiful views, gorgeous accommodations.
You are
And
selling it hard.
by the way, the lighthouses are decommissioned. All you got to do is take care of it. Be someone out there like they just need lighthouse watchmen, and it pays money, and you can go out for a summer on the Great Lakes and sit on a lighthouse for the summer for 3 months.
So you can do it in short
Babe,
stretches.
You need to quit.
Yeah, you
editing
don't have
and
to do it
be a
for
Oh, I
lighthouse.
didn't know that.
You can quit editing.
Lighthouse watchman.
Totally do television from a lighthouse.
All
That'd
right,
be great.
so hold on.
That's cool.
You've been all over the world. You've
Yeah.
traveled
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
She's been
so-
nowhere.
like, what'd you say?
I've been nowhere.
It's what you said. You've been
Uh-huh,
nowhere.
uh-huh.
Okay, so you have this beautiful home here, but you could really get another house somewhere else.
Uh-huh.
Would you want to?
I don't know.
Yeah, with my second family, I think I will.
It's always better with the second family.
Everybody always gets it right on the second family.
Yeah, right.
Uh-huh.
I don't know.
Have you guys
I
ever thought about it?
Mm-mm.
So
I think
if
he
you
has, I
couldn't,
haven't.
if you couldn't do California, Georgia, or Florida, like just assuming that there are ties that you would maybe want to go back. So barring those 3 states, where would you go?
Well, LeeAnn's a big Rogan fan. She wants to go to Austin.
Oh,
Ah.
okay.
No, that's not true. I'm not that I'm
The part about
a
him
big
being
Rogan
a
fan.
fan?
No,
I'm
Austin,
neither here nor
Austin.
there with
I'm not
Rogan,
moving to
but
fucking
I'm not.
Austin.
I'm,
It's too
I'm
much
not
city.
going
I've been to
no.
Austin so much.
We've
I'm
missed the
actually
curve.
starting to resent Austin
Mm.
because I'm there so much without living there, and I go there. I'm at the same hotel. I eat the same dinner every fucking night. I work out in the same gym. I do the same 2 podcasts or 4 podcasts, and then I come home and it like it would be nice to know that city more intimately because I've been
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
when we went out, we got stem cells at my buddy's house, and his house fucking gorgeous. And I was
Did
like,
you say you got stem cells?
yeah.
What, like
Like,
reparative stem
what is
cells
that?
or
What is that?
I couldn't even tell you. I'm not a big listener, but I think intravenous stem cells, and then
It-
yeah,
So in an IV?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's what I thought.
and
you
so
meant. Okay.
and so, but like my our friend, who's now LeeAnn's working with, we went to his house. It's gorgeous out there.
Mm.
I don't know Austin intimately enough to enjoy it. I only know it on a user based server platform. Okay, where would you want to live?
My problem is this. It's
Tampa?
much like no. It's
Tampa's the
much
best place
like
in the
what I was
fucking
talking
world.
about when I was shopping for the community.
yeah.
I have not
Did you get a
been
haircut?
anywhere yet. I don't know. Maybe since you've seen me.
Okay.
I haven't been anywhere yet where I've gone, oh yeah.
Those are my people.
These are my people. My
Aw.
people are already here.
Aw.
That's
So-
you can't do that. Your people are there. Your people are there. You just gotta find them.
I haven't been anywhere where I've had that sense where, oh yeah, I could find something here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Not that there aren't great people everywhere. Of course there are.
Mhm.
Of course there are.
Mhm.
But you know, I haven't traveled enough to really
Got it.
matter. You know, I don't go. I go with him when he
Right.
does a show.
But you're working
and
probably
we don't.
a little bit
we
like
don't go out and explore the city. I haven't
Yeah.
done much
Yeah.
of that, so I don't know. No place. I've not been to a place yet where I've been like, oh yeah, I could do this.
Have you ever
Okay.
been to Hooters in Abilene? Because that's where Denise found her
No,
people.
no, no.
Oh,
Missed
Abilene.
that
some
one.
fun
Missed that
people
one.
there.
I've been to
Uh-huh.
Abilene. I've been
Have
to
you?
almost every Hooters everywhere, but not been to that one. Hooters is the best. I could go to for Hooters.
You guys do Hooters. Do Hooters.
I don't
go to
like
Hooters in
wings.
LA.
I don't like wings. I'm not
I
a
wanna
Get
wing
go.
other
woman.
things
Why
though.
do
They
I
have
do
burgers
that?
and everything.
Yeah,
They have
true.
chicken sandwich. They have a grouper sandwich.
Oh.
Hooters is the
They
best.
have a grouper
restaurant.
sandwich in LA?
Baby, every Hooters has a grouper.
I
sandwich.
don't think so. I don't
Maybe
think
it's
Grouper
just
so.
Florida.
sandwiches are delicious. That's the one
They
thing
are.
I'm loving about Florida right now.
I would move back to Florida.
So-
I wouldn't live where you guys are living.
Where would you live?
In Florida,
Yeah.
New Smyrna.
New Smyrna's so pretty.
Jacksonville.
Okay, Jacksonville's pretty.
Jacksonville.
Stewart.
Oh, Lori's family's from Stewart. Okay, yeah.
I would live somewhere on the East Coast. Let me tell you the life I think you should have.
Oh, tell it.
I'm all ears.
I think you should buy. If I were you, this is how I'd live it. I would buy a small beach house on the beach in and around Daytona, New Smyrna. I think that's where the rental properties really blow up.
Yeah. I did mention to him. I mean, Daytona's still a little white trash where you can actually get
Oh, that's
like
the beauty of Florida.
so,
If you're gonna bathe in the mud, get in the dirty part. Like fucking. If you're gonna go to Florida, look, I grew
do
up Florida.
Florida.
Do Florida.
Uh-huh.
Daytona's fucking. I'd get I get matching motorcycles. I would
He already
get
has the
matching
dream.
motorcycles. I get tattoos tomorrow, and then I would go.
Tattoos.
I would go, New Smyrna, Daytona, anywhere down that coast.
You like the East Coast. I'm kind of a golf person myself. Why don't you like the golf?
Okay, all right. Then let me
Just
repitch it to you.
curious.
Then let me repitch it to you. They're going to be doing a huge rebuild on Sanibel Island.
Oh, yeah. That's a long ways though.
Well, but you don't want to live in fucking Tampa or Clearwater. You want to live in anywhere from that Fort Myers to Tampa area.
Mhm.
Anything in between. That's the
That's
most
a sweet
beautiful beaches in the world you'll ever find in your fucking life. And a hurricane just came through there. It's not happening again for another 35 years. So
What
like,
about like Destin? Destin's kind of pretty.
Yeah.
Where
but
do
you
your
gotta
parents
live in
live?
The Panhandle's
Tampa.
different
Tampa.
than
Oh, okay.
Florida. Panhandle's still got a little bit of Alabama.
Oh, for
Oh, yeah,
sure.
to it.
Yeah,
a little bit of
totally.
Mississippi.
They
I kind of liked
called-
it though when we were in Panama City. It
I
was
don't
good.
know.
It was a
I
good
did-
vibe.
I don't know.
PCB?
She wasn't so
Hey,
into it.
listen.
I didn't like it.
Panama City, I love Panama City,
I
but
was like,
it's Panama City.
Right.
It's
like-
it's a vacation spot for everyone
In
from
Georgia.
Mississippi,
Yeah.
Alabama.
I see
That's
it.
that's their vacation spot. St. Mark's is beautiful. If
Oh,
you're gonna
okay.
like, St. Mark's. There's so many. The best state. I've said this a number of times. I'm gonna measure this. The best state in the union is Ohio.
Oh,
Without a
wait.
doubt.
What?
The best
What?
state in the union is
What? He's
Ohio.
from Ohio.
It is
The
What?
best state in the union.
There are
Why?
many, many things to
You
like
got the
about
most
Ohio.
open-minded people that are cool as fuck. Ohio's people are cool as fucking shit. Top to bottom, they're cool as shit. You got the most diverse landscape,
That's true.
and you've got opportunities for big sporting games,
That's
big
true.
sporting cities.
Yeah.
You've got civic pride, all the shit you don't get in like fucking. I love you, North Dakota, but you don't get that in North Dakota.
No, absolutely.
Like
yeah.
North Dakota feels like an island on itself.
Yeah.
And
you said
if-
earlier, so I grew up in Youngstown, Ohio.
oh,
and,
fucking love Youngstown, Ohio.
yeah,
I
it's
was just
great.
there.
It's,
I was just there. Fucking
it's-
love you.
It's
Youngstown,
great if
Ohio.
you're from there, but a lot of people like it's fun. I mean, you know, all the old haunts that I
Yeah.
used to go to in college, they're all pretty much still there. One bar moved just because they redid downtown a little bit,
Yeah.
you know. But that's fantastic. But you were talking about a lighthouse on one of the Great Lakes, like Lake Erie,
Oh my God.
put in Bay
Dude,
or one of those places.
Cleveland fucking rocks.
It really does.
Cleveland fucking rocks.
gets such a bad
shit
rap.
on Cleveland.
Yeah.
Oh my
I
God.
did my second special, fourth, one of my specials in Cleveland,
Yeah.
and I love Cleveland.
I
love
like Cleveland a lot. Too,
You do?
actually.
Cleveland's fucking
Okay.
gorgeous.
I've
It
been
really
there
is.
3 times,
It really is.
and I really like Cleveland.
yeah.
And Pittsburgh is also pretty damn good.
Don't get me fucking started on
Pittsburgh is pretty damn good.
Pittsburgh's fucking gorgeous.
Yeah.
Flash dance for days, baby.
Yeah.
The views in Pittsburgh are unlike anywhere you'll get ever in America since 1913, when fucking Rockefeller and Vanderbilt came in there and was like, we're fancying this place up.
Yep.
Dude, it is fucking Pittsburgh's amazing.
Pittsburgh
Now
made
listen,
a
if you're
great
saying,
turn since
you're
the
saying
80s.
I can go one place
Mhm.
and then not worry about what people think,
What would it be?
it's Hawaii.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's,
Right.
But I can't buy land there. I really have too much love for that country, that part of the country to like. I'm not shitting on people who live there and buy land, but I'm saying as like a person from LA buying property there,
Right.
buying property to rent out, that's
Yeah.
bullshit. I think it's bullshit.
You don't need to stay. Look, I'm not promoting anything. Like we have a kid out of high school, but you don't need to stay here to do you anymore, do you? Like you had to. Oh, you still do?
Yeah. Well,
why?
I mean, like I definitely would have to go here or. I mean, because our podcast.
Well,
is,
his podcast guests are here.
They're local.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
That's true.
Okay. All right.
But
that
not
makes
the
sense.
road. I mean, we haven't. You can live anywhere and do
You
the
get
road.
enough. Yeah, I mean,
The road is different.
But if it was, if you didn't have the podcast, you can literally be you anywhere, right?
Key West.
Okay.
Key West.
I'd move
Yeah.
to Key West.
I would not.
Like if LeeAnn,
Oh,
so I have a
Leanne.
list of places that
I would not.
if
It is too
LeeAnn and I
hot
broke
there.
up, where
It's
I'd
hot.
move to because I didn't want to run into her.
Uh-huh.
Like so, like places I go, she'll never go
Yeah.
there, but
It's
I
Key
can go
West.
there and party, and I'll never be reminded of her.
Uh-huh. She's everywhere, by the way.
Key West, New Orleans,
Key West.
Paris.
Paris.
You're not a Paris person?
I've never been.
Oh, okay.
I can't say that I'm not. I can say I've
I
never
think we're cool. And so, but
I've got a place. If Denise and I ever break up, you know where I would move?
Whoa.
Ohio.
I was gonna say Ohio.
I'll never go
Ohio's
there.
so-
She
where
would
in
never
Ohio?
go.
Where in Ohio?
Uh-huh.
I'll
She
tell you
would
where I'm
never
going. I'm going.
You've
I'm
been
going
there,
to
though.
Columbus.
I have. That's
Columbus
why
is
I'm never
great.
going.
Columbus is great. I gotta say
To
though,
be
after
fair, I've only
visiting
been, like, with his
northern
family.
Kentucky,
Right.
I was I could be talked into Cincinnati and just going across the river
Cincinnati's
every
fucking
day.
amazing. Butler, Ohio is pretty cool.
Yeah,
There's some really great places. Arizona's got some pretty cool places. Problem with
Arizona's
Arizona,
too hot. I can't
It's too
like
hot.
I think Florida's really hot. I'm definitely a dry
no,
person.
no,
I think
no.
Flagstaff though.
What? You don't think
Florida's
Flagstaff,
so fucking
Sedona.
awesome.
Sedona's
Sedona
beautiful.
is
Beautiful.
amazing.
Do
We-
you like Sedona?
We're
I
priced
thought
out. We're out of the market there.
he said it. It's too
Yeah.
expensive. We couldn't move there.
Yeah.
Like I mean, for what we like, no. Like it's the house has started $1 million. Like
Yeah.
that's like
We
LA
didn't
all
have
over
a
again for a
super-
little house.
We
you
didn't
know
have
what
a
I mean? For a
super
little
great
house.
visit there either.
What about let's small house this
Okay.
and think about some places where you'd like to live
Mhm.
that you can go to. You know we're going here. Let's like what if you said theoretically, think about this way we do food, right? You find an area that's got good food around. So what if you pick places that you like to be in the country? Meaning, say you like Ohio, somewhere on the Great Lakes, like a lighthouse up there.
Mhm.
Say you like Florida, where you guys have a house already. Say you also like Sedona.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what if you just were like, this is our thing. We go from house to house to house, and we chase summer.
Oh yeah, I've
Yeah,
actually
yeah.
we've talked about that.
Like tapas,
yeah,
like do small plates only
Yeah.
in the form of houses.
Yeah.
So Pigeon Forge, Tennessee,
Yeah, there you
outside
go.
of Knoxville.
Uh-huh.
Don't get me fucking
Yeah.
started.
Yeah,
I love
that's where I
Pigeon
would
Forge.
go. I'm
You know, she
really
loves
excited
Pigeon
to go there in
Forge.
the
Do
spring.
you?
Yeah, that's where
Oh,
Dolly
beautiful.
Parton's from.
Yeah.
She grew up in
Okay.
Pigeon Forge.
So, have you been there?
Oh, not a long,
Okay.
long time.
Okay.
Is
That's-
it beautiful up there?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
that's
Cannot wait to get there.
we
in
are
the
going to
spring.
Tennessee.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
he worked for a short time in Knoxville, and we thought we were going to move
Knoxville's
there.
fucking
And it's
gorgeous.
really,
It really
really
is.
pretty, and that was affordable at one point. I don't know if it still is. So
Mm-hmm.
the whole point of the podcast is like, can we afford it? Is it a place the girls would want to live? Could we live there?
2
How
hours
close-
from a major metro airport
Yeah, well, that's the big thing.
and
That's the
20 minutes from a
problem.
grocery store.
Well, I
for
mean, if you're
Denise.
going to do this,
Right?
we're talking about hubs. You got to
It
find
has
your
to be
hub.
closer than
Yeah.
2
I
hours.
go Colorado.
I don't like Colorado. I've never moved to Colorado. I never liked it.
Why?
I
I've
would
never had good experiences when I think that has a lot to do with also a place you like. Is your experience good? I've never had a good experience there. I just don't like it. Like I don't care for the people. I don't like Colorado. Isn't that
Ooh.
crazy?
Oh.
I know. I
A
know.
little shade for
love
Colorado.
Do you?
I was
does,
so crestfallen when Georgia didn't pick Colorado to go to college.
Okay, so I have a question. Why don't you guys ever buy a house somewhere like Colorado? You like to go skiing, snowboarding. Like, how come you guys don't think about doing something like that? Just
dead
curious.
honest with you. I mean, I'm not. I don't mean to answer. I'll let LeeAnn answer.
My answer is we can't even get to our beach house.
That was my answer.
Okay.
We don't ever.
I'm not in. I'm
we
not
don't
in
ever
this
go
house.
there.
Oh, okay.
I mean,
my life is so fucked up right now.
I'm trying to get him to tour 2 weeks a month. I've been trying for 3 years to get him to tour 2 weeks a month. And then sometimes those 2 weeks may be back to back. So he's like home for a month, gone for a month.
Yeah.
And I can't get him to do it.
we
So
did
I haven't been to that beach house since August. I
Aw,
can't make
okay.
it. I can't. And I'm trying so hard.
Okay.
So then why would we buy something else?
Right.
It's true.
We go to my dad's lake house for 2 weeks in the summer.
Yeah.
And that's about all we can get done. We used to go see his parents for another week in the summer. And for the past several summers, we haven't been able to even add that on.
Oh.
So
we
it's just too busy.
Okay.
we did a roast with Whitney Cummings
Mm-hmm.
on her OnlyFans page, And the number one joke, which really caught me off guard, the first time I ever did a roast, they were like, Bert's liver's so black, and I was like, do people think I have a drinking problem? and then the next roast, the roast we did with Whitney, the biggest joke they made is that Bert works so hard he never sees his kids, and I was like, is that noticeable to people? Like I work. I haven't been to the beach house. I haven't been.
You
to the beach
do work
house
a
in
lot.
forever.
I mean,
Yeah, but that's what the fuck we do.
It is true.
Like, what the fuck are we here for?
It's true.
Like, what are you gonna do?
Well, part
Are you
of it
gonna
is to enjoy your life.
Are
We
you gonna
work
live in
so
the
much
lightness and then fucking watch the? I mean, look.
What?
I don't know.
I don't even know what that means.
I mean, look. Listen. I don't know. If you love what you do,
Then
just do
you're
it.
loving
You
it.
just do
Yeah.
it. You just do it,
I agree.
and you just do it, and you don't look back, and you go, "This is what I love doing. I love doing it. I love doing it. I love doing it more than anything in the world, and it's my thing. It's like no one fucking shits on fucking baseball players or fucking Marine Corps guys for doing their job, but in a weird way, there is a thing going through comedy right now where like guys are kind of going like, is it worth it? Because I think they've watched guys like me go through it and go, oh no, you make hay while the sun shines.
Mm-hmm.
One of our best friends cannot say no to a job, and you go, yeah, you know this is that
absolutely.
This job is fucking. You get an offer, you take it.
Yeah,
You're not
I'm
promised.
that person in my own niche.
and even
For
this
I'm
friend
that
he's
person.
talking about is, I think, inarguably at your level in what he does,
He's bigger than I am.
and he
still can't say no.
he can't say no,
No, you can't say no
and he
So what
could,
Yeah.
he could,
Right.
but he cannot say no.
because that's how your
Doesn't
brain.
make hay
that's
while
how
the
your
sun
brain works,
shines.
yeah.
The sun is shining, and really hot.
Can't
He's
promise
really
this
hot.
forever.
Yeah.
He's at the place like Bert. He's at the place he's worked for his whole career.
Mm-hmm.
So once he's here, what's he going to do? Go pause? No, keeps working. And it's the same as Bert. Bert's at this place where everything's moving. What are we going to do? Say pause? That would be so crazy.
Yes.
So the flip side of that is we don't go to the beach house.
Yeah.
But I keep thinking 5-7 years from now, whatever it is,
Mm-hmm.
when you decide you're slowing down, it'll be there.
That's a good point.
The beach house will be there.
So is it
I'm
does
only
it bother
52.
you?
He's
Yeah.
only 50. It's not like we're dying next week.
Right.
Does it bother
You know?
you that they said that at the roast?
No,
Okay.
no. Oddly enough, I'm pretty numb to all that because as being a comic, but it's just a thing that registers where you go, yeah, I guess that's interesting that's what they see. But Georgia tours with me when we do Fully Loaded.
Yeah.
So you're like, yeah, I fucking hang out with my kid. I got good relationships with my kid.
You have very good relationships with your kids, and you do not give yourself enough credit.
Yeah, you show up to events at school. Do
Yeah, I
you know
didn't
how big that is?
realize one of the very first times I didn't realize I saw you was you were at a lacrosse game because Georgia joined the team with Ellie, and maybe not because of Ellie, but she was on the team with Ellie, and I was like, "Great job, number 12," and it was Georgia.
Yeah.
And then this guy looked at me, and I did not even like register, like, "Oh, that's Bert Kreischer. Like he's here with seeing Georgia."
You know, there are parents who don't tour the world and aren't at their kids' lacrosse games.
That's
So
very
when you're
true.
feeling guilty about like some shit you've done, just like think that, because there are
That's
parents
true.
sitting at home watching TV or just at the office who are like, yeah, I'm not going to the game today. I'm going to sit in traffic. You toured the world and you made it to her lacrosse game more than once. We saw you there more than once.
Yes, every time he was home, he
Yeah.
goes. That's what I've always said. That
You
was our
gotta stop.
deal when we had kids. Was that I'm got your back when you're on the road, but when you get home, you plug in and your dad, and you always did drop off and pick up. You'd walk the girls to school.
I think we're fine.
Yes, you
I like
are. You're more fine than
Yeah.
you give yourself
Yeah.
credit.
It's tough
for.
to be. I mean, it's not tough. It's easy to be hard on yourself, especially like, so we just graduated a couple kids, Georgia and Ellie both went off. And I feel like, that senior year is where you get your daughter back for a minute. For the last 3 or 4 months of her senior year, she kind of is like she's going through her own stuff where she's like, this is all ending. And between the two of you, especially father-daughter, you get this thing where like all of a sudden she's like 5 years old again in many ways, and you're like, yes, this is amazing. And then 3 months after that, you're like, bye, and Denise isn't the crier in the family when it comes to dropping kids off at school. I've done it 3 times and I've had the sniffles all 3 times.
How was
Not
it
afraid to admit it.
for you guys?
Oh, it was horrible.
Yeah.
It was horrible for me. she was pretty stiff-lipped.
Well, my theory was this is the way I thought. This is amazing for her.
Mhm.
What a great, yes, I'm going to miss her. Yes, it makes me sad she's not going to be in my house. But is that what I want to leave her with? I want to leave her with, you got this.
I don't
Let's
do it in front
this.
of them.
This is amazing.
Yeah.
I didn't,
He didn't either.
Ever.
We dropped her off.
Do it in
And
front
as
of them.
soon as we pulled out of the driveway, I cried a little.
Yeah.
He fell totally apart.
Aw.
I
But that's
posted the picture on
okay.
Instagram.
Yeah.
It's pretty bad.
I saw it.
And Georgia actually loved it. But that you didn't do it in front of her because then she
Right.
feels
Yeah,
responsible
because
for
then
your
you don't
feelings.
want you don't want them to like. You're right.
Yeah.
You don't want them to leave with that or feel guilty. Like,
No.
oh,
It's good for
Well,
her to know that's how you feel. But you didn't put it on her so that she had to deal with
I
your
want her to
emotions.
have a blast in college.
She is
I want her to have
having
a
a
blast,
blast.
and that's all. I mean, I don't
She's
know.
maybe having too much fun
Whoa.
at this point. Watch
So I
it,
just
mister.
rip that
Well,
off.
don't keep touching
sorry.
it.
Either we open a bottle of wine or we wrap up this podcast.
Well, so let me ask a few more questions about your podcast. Okay.
Sure.
What's been the hardest part of doing this?
I think booking is a hard. Oh, are you talking to all of us or this?
Go ahead. You can answer that question.
the hardest part
He
of
does
all of it.
the heavy lifting.
The hardest part of all of it was trying to enjoy everywhere we went while simultaneously, like I'm a one-man band out there when we're doing the show. So it's like, lugging the gear in, lugging the gear out. Like there are times where it's like, yeah, we're really enjoying the show. It's something like, thank you again for telling me that,
should do it.
we should do a podcast.
Yeah.
We do
and
throw
all your
it out a
support too.
lot. I mean, I know you guys are busy. You haven't heard it, but there are many times in the podcast where we mentioned both of you that we wouldn't
Yeah.
be here if it wasn't your idea. Like
Yeah.
Oh,
really,
well, you don't have to say
and
that, but thank you,
LeeAnn,
yeah.
of
So,
course, and LeeAnn
Mostly
having a
me,
son.
but yeah, me too.
On one hand, on one hand, it's like it sounds a little bit like, oh, we're doing a podcast and life is hard. Like that's not it at all. But somebody's got to carry all the gear in
There's
and
a lot
out.
of
Like
gear.
everywhere we
There's a lot
would
of gear.
roll up, it
Yeah.
didn't matter how safe or unsafe you perceive the place to be. You can't leave an empty van full of gear.
Nope.
Yeah.
Nope.
So it was like every day just schlepping that stuff in. So there were moments I think where that grated on me a little bit. But
Yeah.
that to me that was the hardest
A
part.
podcast is a labor of love,
It is.
and if you don't love it, it's never going to work. Because once you love it,
Yeah.
then I've had times where I've fallen out of love with my podcast, and then I've had times where I fall back in love with my podcast.
Yeah.
And you can almost see the numbers when I'm in love with it and when I'm not in love with it.
Interesting.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
you can definitely see the numbers. If you go on YouTube, you can go, oh, this is work for Bert, and then you can go, oh, this is excitement for Bert. Like,
Oh, that's interesting.
yeah,
Okay.
but it should be a labor of love, and it should be something that's always growing like a tree,
Yeah.
so that you can let it be whatever it wants to be. If it wants to be, if it wants to be whatever it wants to be, it can be that. That's Duncan Trussell's once said to me, a good friend of mine, great podcaster, great dude. He was like, the thing I get bummed out about with like late night talk show hosts is that they have a format and it can never change, and it can never be something else.
Yeah.
And in that podcast, I had a panic attack, and he said, "Let me guide you through a meditation." And I went, "We can't do that on the podcast." And he goes, "Why not?" And I was like, "Yeah, I guess we could." And he goes, "Someone might want this meditation."
Yeah.
And we did a guided meditation on it, and it was so fucking cool. That's the cool thing about a podcast is it really is just white space of like, you can do whatever the fuck you want. It can be whatever the fuck you want,
Yeah.
but you got to love it. You got to love it. And I remember, it's stressful. I know LeeAnn's dealt with this where she goes, fuck, I don't have a guest for this week. We're going out of town.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I need 2 this week because I have next week off.
Yes.
Yeah.
How do I get this person? And someone's sick and falls through. I was supposed to have a podcast last night and they got sick
Aw.
and fell through. So now I have to come up with another one to get me
Mhm.
through the holidays. So I had it all planned.
Mhm.
So I don't have to, after today, I was going to be done until January. But now I got to come up with one more so I can be done until January,
Yeah.
Okay.
which is okay. But sometimes that's stressful.
of
And,
course.
Yeah.
the back and forth, I booked my own podcast until Jennifer came on board like a month ago.
Mhm.
She started
Yeah, helping
booking
you.
mine.
Mhm.
And I was like, it's the back and forth
Yes,
email
of
of the 8
course.
emails
It's a lot of
back
work.
and forth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've spent
It is.
3 hours now just trying to get
And-
someone to talk to me for an hour.
Right,
you know?
right. Yeah. for
So
sure.
it's
Sure.
hard. Sometimes that gets it makes me weary sometimes.
Yeah.
But once I'm in here, I love the conversation and what
Yeah.
I learn from somebody and, the connection you have with somebody and hoping that someone learns.
I love this. I mean, I love it. It's like we could say, hey, let's hang out and go have dinner or whatever.
Yeah.
In a weird way, our conversation won't get as deep as it would.
It's very true.
It's true.
I
It
never
happens
thought
with my
about
friends.
that.
I mean, I noticed it happening with
It happens
my friends.
with me and you. When
Yeah.
you're here, we talk about things we wouldn't talk about at dinner.
Wow.
Well, my buddy Tom Segura said he would have left his wife years ago
What?
if they didn't have a podcast.
He did not.
he talks
said
about his
that. He
problems
said,
on the
he goes, I
podcast.
would never be married
Yes.
to that woman.
Yeah.
He did not. I do not believe you.
No, he told me that privately. He told me not to say anything.
Oh, you're so full of shit. If you're saying that on here for sure.
I can't believe
awesome.
that's who you are, that you think that I'm being serious. I would have left you years ago.
Oh,
anyway,
shut up.
no.
So what do you hate,
What do you hate about it?
Denise?
Oh, what do I hate about
Or what's the hardest?
The
That was
hardest-
my
The hardest
question.
part.
The hardest
Sorry,
part.
yeah, that was the actual question.
the hardest part? Wow. I've enjoyed so much of it. Hold on. I have to seriously think about what the hardest part is. Oh, okay. Honestly, sometimes the hardest part is not forgetting things that I want to talk about because I really try to be of the moment. And if I don't have an outline, sometimes I forget because we'll get caught up in a conversation. We'll end the podcast and I'll be like, I didn't even talk about that. Does
Save
that
it
happen?
for the next fucking podcast.
Yeah, but
So
sometimes
I
it won't
write.
be
So
relevant.
I write notes
Yeah.
in my phone that'll say it's headline 2 bears.
Yeah.
And then I write notes throughout the couple weeks that Tom and I are away, and I'll write, we need to talk about this. We need to talk about that.
Yeah.
And then the greatest feeling in the world is going through a podcast and not getting to something. And then you're
That's
like,
the greatest feeling. For me, I feel like I failed the podcast. I'm like, I didn't
No.
even
I think
talk
we
about
should
this
start
great
keeping
thing.
track though, because I think we could start doing summary episodes
you
now.
can do-
Because
you
ours
can-
are topical, so it's based on what city we're on. So
Yeah.
it'd be weird to do. Oh, by the way, this thing for Louisville in the middle of Santa Fe.
No, but it's not-
to
but it's
your
not-
point,
but there's no
we could
rules.
do a
There's
catch-up
no
episode.
fucking
Okay,
rules.
LeeAnn
I
has
know.
said there's no rules. And for some
Yeah.
reason that throws me off because I'm a rule-oriented
no
person.
fucking
I'm like a
rules.
more structured person.
No.
So yeah, so
Never. No one's ever gonna fall in love with a rule maker. No one ever
oh my
falls in
God.
love with a rule
True
maker.
words never spoken.
No one's like, man, we had sex and it was just by the books. I loved it.
Yeah,
It was
it was so much fun.
kissing, boobs,
I
dick.
love it when there are
Just
no
by
pleasant
the book.
surprises.
Have
Oh my
fucking
God.
fun with it
Okay.
and be in Louisville and be like, hold on. The thing that you may be missing in this a little bit is that people are subscribing to hear your journey.
Yeah.
And your
It's
journey is
true.
always moving. And if
That
you're
is
in
true.
Louisville and you're like, hold on, I'm not done with Kentucky. We have 5 things I never brought up last week about Kentucky.
You think that'd be
Right.
okay? Because I feel like,
Yeah.
oh shit. Because
Yeah.
here's what I think too: is people drop into whatever city they want
No,
to hear.
no,
So
no,
okay,
no,
so
Well,
I'll
they-
try
they,
that.
they
no.
might.
Okay,
No,
I'm just gonna
no,
recap.
No.
Well, you didn't let me finish my.
No.
I had a but. What I was going to say is they might, but
Uh-huh.
what you want is people who listen no matter where you are. You don't want them to listen for the city. You want them to listen for you.
You're not selling
So
a
you
cheeseburger with fries, 2 pickles, mustard, and that's it this week. And then next week, chicken sandwich. You're selling a menu.
You.
You're selling a menu. And so
Well, that is
let it-
funny you say that because people do like that. They
You.
have commented on the chemistry.
They like you.
So okay,
Yeah.
so I guess I do have to stop being
Listen,
so like this is
listen.
what this week is.
your next
I
podcast
wouldn't worry about
should
it so
be
much.
drunk as fuck. And you should not re-listen to it. You should just air it. Don't edit it. The best thing about a podcast is the accidents. The accidents make podcasts beautiful. Halston, am I fucking right? We're not doing radio. We're not doing television. We're not making a product that we're trying to sell to fucking iHeartRadio.
Right.
Just make it organic and real. Let the people fall in love with you. When you fell in love,
That's right.
and you remember when the first time you farted in front of someone, and then they were like, "Oh, that's my girl." You know, like, I remember LeeAnn goes, "I tooted," and I went, I could be around someone who farts and goes, "I tooted." But that's the thing. That's the thing about a podcast. I tell this over and over again. My favorite part of Joe Rogan's podcast was that I had built up what his house looked like in my
Your head. Yeah.
Yeah.
I would imagine. So the first time I went to do his podcast, I was like, "Hey man, this isn't what I thought it was going to be. I need a tour." He was like, "What?" I was like, "I need to see the deprivation tank. I want to meet your dogs.
Uh-huh.
I want to see the phone that rings all the time. I want to get high, play pool, and then we can podcast. But like, that's the fun of a podcast is it's the personalities. I listen to a lot of history podcasts. Sadly, there are a lot of history podcasts out there that aren't great, but it's not great because of the content. It's not great because of the personality.
Yeah.
The personality that's delivering it. You want someone to be real and raw and open. And if you fuck up, you fuck up.
And this is what I'd said to you guys before, I think.
Yeah.
It is about your relationship and your journey from city to city. And I want to see how you relate to each other in the context of what's happening.
Yeah.
Because how you relate to each other is interesting to me. I can go to Cincinnati and see what you see all by myself.
Right.
But I want to see how you process it individually and together.
And turn it into a segment. I mean, like, honestly, it's that cheap.
Yeah. Just
It's
like,
turn it into a segment. Where we fucked up last week.
Right.
What we left off the books last week.
Okay.
what we missed.
That's a
Just
good
make
idea.
it fun,
actually.
but make it fun, but don't overthink it.
Okay.
Don't give me an intro. I mean, I'm giving you notes that you should, by the way, this should all be yours, and it should be really bad for a year until it gets good. That's my belief in a podcast, is that let it be bad for a long time until it gets good, because that's when you start getting fans. They're like, oh, they know what they're doing now.
Oh,
you know?
yeah. We
Yeah.
did hear that, like, more than one person told us this. And it was, if you can make it over 20 podcasts, because most fizzle at 20. And then we did the numbers, like we looked it up. It's insane, you guys. There's like something like, I'm going to get the numbers wrong right now, so whoever's going to fact check. But it's something like I'm not lying, like something like, what was the thing? Like 1 million podcasts, but like only 175,000 over 20 episodes. Like it drops. So it's like,
Yeah,
like,
it's
you know how they
precipitous
say
when you hit certain milestone, you know this. And so
so to hear a year, I'm like, wow, okay, we made it past
Yeah.
20. So now all we have to do is get past a year. Cause you know, that whole thing, like if you can keep a business open for 2 years, you're successful.
yeah.
The rule, I guess, that I'm hearing or reading is that if you can make it over 20 podcasts and you haven't fizzled, like you're doing good.
Yeah.
So
Doing
now it's a
great.
year.
We get a little
Yeah, you're doing
impatient. We
great.
do. We get impatient because we're both trying to, like, respectively, in each of our departments, we're trying to alpha the shit out of everything.
We
you know?
are.
We
Oh
really
my God,
are.
that's
And
the
so
best
we're
way you
like,
said it.
you
We are
know,
trying to alpha the shit out of it. Like, I'm like, I did this. He's like, well, guess what? I did this.
Yeah, there's a little friendly competition there. Some days it's not so friendly. So to
I
your
know.
point, there have been some organic moments.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
I would look.
we shared
I
a
wanna
couple
see
weeks.
that.
We shared a couple weeks ago with
Yeah.
everybody on our show that, you know, mom and dad sometimes fight, and so
And like we were gonna quit, like in Mexico.
Denise was gonna quit,
Mexico
yeah.
City. Like
And I
we
was
had
gonna
a
fly
full-on
home, and
fight in
it was a
Mexico
whole
City,
thing.
and I said, I'm quitting. I said, I'm not doing this podcast with you anymore. And then he's like, well, fuck it then. I'm flying back to Florida. And I go, let me help you. Let's look for a flight together.
my
I'll
God.
Then
get
I
your bag.
heard my own voice saying, "I'm flying back to Florida," and I'm like, "Why would I ever do
But
that? I'm
see,
in Mexico
to
City
me,
right now."
You should have,
Say it,
you
Leanne,
should
say it,
have,
Leanne, say
you
it, Leanne,
should
say
have
it, Leanne.
podcasted about
Say it,
the
Leanne.
aftermath
Say
of
it,
that
Leanne, say it,
because because remember when we were first talking about this,
Yeah.
I said to you, I want to see the fight.
Uh-huh.
I want to see the arguments.
We did
How
talk about
can
it.
you live together for months?
That's how they make sausage.
No, but how do you live
We-
together?
we do the-
how do you make this
we do the
life
bicker.
change
We do
and
the-
not
we
bicker?
bicker.
No, we
It's
do.
impossible.
Yeah, we do.
So I don't want to see. I'm not saying you do this, but I don't want to see like perfection, carved out of cream cheese.
Well, you're gonna love
I
us.
want to see sloppy,
You don't wanna see
messy. I want to say we just had an argument.
Yeah.
Let's break it down.
Yeah.
And even if you get into the argument, as long as you can
Yeah.
always edit it out,
Yeah.
record it, and then go and take 24
Get
hours
yourself-
and listen to it later because every married couple fights.
Yeah,
If
of
they
course.
don't, there's something wrong with
That's the
them.
biggest thing. Like, we have not wanted to paint the picture, even the journey into raising kids or selling our house or going on this adventure together, whatever. Like, we never want to paint the picture to everybody that, like, oh, we're, you know,
Yeah, no, I don't
No,
think
we're
you do.
Natalie
No, I
and
don't
Jim
think you
Bob,
do.
and we're having a great time.
No, I
We're
don't
just
think you
not
do.
those
hard
people.
not to edit yourself a tad bit
It's
It
true.
is.
if you're not me. Like, and trust me when I say I'm paying the tax of it a little bit, but like I have never edited myself, and I think there's definitely a toll that comes with that.
Absolutely.
But like, sadly, that's the
It's what
that's
people
the fun
connect
shit.
to.
Right.
And it's what people connect to.
That's the thing.
I did a podcast.
Right?
People
I did a
have like we've
podcast.
gotten a lot of comments from people like, "I'm glad you guys didn't quit," you know, and I'm like, "Oh, that makes me feel really good," because
Should.
the best
Actually, listen.
comments you get are from the people you don't know already.
Yeah.
That's for
And
sure.
when they're saying, "I'm glad you didn't quit," and you don't know this person from Adam or Eve, that's the best feeling in the world.
These
You're
are
like,
the best-
okay,
these
we
are
got
the best
people in our
comments.
corner, you know.
That's
These
right.
are the best comments you'll ever get in your entire business of podcasting. because there are people that are listening.
I know.
And they're giving you notes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you're where I'm at, it's not worth the time because you're like,
Right.
it's just
Yeah.
people taking swings at people, and you're
Oh,
like,
for
right.
sure.
but I remember reading these comments and being like, I used to do this a lot on podcasts. I'd suck air through my teeth.
Mm-hmm.
Someone's like, dude, you got to stop doing that. You remind me of having dinner with my grandmother. And then I was like, cool.
No,
And then I
that's good.
stopped doing it. I remember people, the big one, but I've never really corrected this boat entirely, was like, you don't listen. And I was like, I'm trying. And I had a period, Halston, you know this, where I started listening a lot. And then I stopped again. But like,
how long was
but like,
that? I was just curious. How long was a lot?
Halston, how long
At
did I
least
listen?
3 episodes.
I had like a year or two.
Oh,
Right?
nice.
I had a year or two where
Of
I
listening.
listened.
Oh.
And then I just got to a place where I was like, I'm done listening.
I'm so much more interesting than you are.
Yeah.
So
Well,
I'm just gonna keep talking.
what happened? Candidly, if we're gonna be very honest about this,
Uh-huh, well,
so I believe in this. And Halston, please speak up. But we had a period of time where my stand-up overlaps my podcasting. So sometimes we get people on my podcast that had not achieved what I had in stand-up. So they'd have a lot of questions about how I got there. And that's what, and then I was doing a lot of podcasts. Halston, correct me if I'm wrong, but I was doing a lot of podcasts where I was talking about, sadly, I was talking about my business plan and my journey, where they would just be like, so how did you get this? I think it was when honestly, Halston, I think it's when we moved in this house, right?
Oh,
Yeah.
and then you weren't listening.
And so that's why
anymore
we
'cause you
bought
was-
the new house to do the podcast over there, because a lot of it was like people would come over to the house and they'd be like,
Oh,
how did you
same
get
questions.
this house? And you're
Yeah.
like,
Leanne remodeled this
Oh.
house.
yeah, well, how much did you pay for this house?
Oh,
and,
and then it's like,
and so it was a lot of the same questions.
yeah, yeah.
And so, and I think it was cute when we were at the old place and they were like, this man cave's great. And everyone's like, oh, they already knew the answer. But then I think, so, but I'm not the best listener. I'm not. I don't know if what was my
What was the
point.
question? You weren't listening.
Just to be organic, like Denise does correct me a lot.
Let
Like,
her, and
Oh,
then blow up
I just
on
have
her.
this theory that
Blow up
sometimes
on her.
Oh,
like
did you hear that?
I
Did
I
you
just
listen to that?
I am I going to blow up on
Yeah,
you?
I said, did you hear that?
Yeah, totally. I mean,
let it be.
I've thought of it.
So real. The best way to have the biggest podcast on the world is be uncomfortable every day when you see it's released. And just sit there and go, what did I say last week?
Oh my God.
I do that every fucking day with
Oh
Two
my
Bears.
God.
With Two Bears, every Monday I go,
What did I
I
say?
see the clips and I go, what did I say? What did I say? What did I do? I know that I know I have Jesus's heart. I know I'm a good person. I know that I don't say the horrific. I know that I don't have hate in my heart, but
Right.
I do say
You put your foot in your
very
mouth
fucked up
sometimes.
things.
Yeah. You put
Where
it-
you're trying to make a joke, and
yeah.
like I think
it
last week I
doesn't
said
work, and-
you can never trust anyone but a Latin American dentist because they still.
Oh
think
yeah, I
it's-
was listening to that
they still think
episode.
it's voodoo,
Yeah.
witchcraft, but it was because that guy did my.
Dr.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't say his name. Edit his name out.
Why?
But I don't want
He's
him to know that.
amazing.
Edit his name out.
My theory is though sometimes it's my version of events is just a little better than what really happened. So, you know.
Oh, really?
Or yeah,
I don't know
some
what
of my
that's
details-
like.
Really?
That's the story of our entire life together.
Exactly.
Yes,
His version is always much different than your version.
totally.
Yeah.
And so much more entertaining.
Oh, of course.
And I'm
of
not a very
course.
good storyteller.
According to
I'm
who?
not a horrible storyteller.
According to who?
No,
According to
no
who?
worries.
According
by
to
me, one of the best storytellers of our
There you go.
generation. I am the best storyteller you'll ever meet in your fucking life.
except for my grandpa.
Oh yeah, your
I
grandfather.
really appreciate that you came in. I mean, the fact that you even remembered that we were going to be here and you were like,
Yeah.
I wanted to sit in
Yeah.
on this. Like, seriously, this goes back to like how you guys are so generous with your time and
Aw.
kind.
Yeah.
No, he's got a
I
million
can't believe
things
you
to do.
raced back from Alaska to sit with Skip Town. This is so
Yeah.
Skip Town All Stars.
it really
baby.
does show your dedication to our show.
I was very excited that you guys were
Aw,
here.
Thank you.
Leanne told
Thank
me
you.
she was like, I'm going to 2 podcasts. We're doing one with theirs and one with ours. And I was like, well, I want to be on. I was hoping to be on one of them.
Yeah.
I know I had to mention Leanne. I'm like, if he's in town and she said this, she was like, I never know.
I
And I was
have
like,
never-
okay.
I
I'm
have
like,
no
and I said
idea.
to James, like, we might see him, we might not. So it was really sweet that you even like stopped in here. Like, honestly.
I know they
Well, by the
asked
way-
me like 2 weeks ago, and I was like, I have
Yeah.
no idea. I found out
This
his
is-
flight like 2 days ago.
This
I have
is
no
also
idea.
how it works. So you know, is that we can give you all the footage from this podcast if you want to put it on your RSS
Yeah, that's what we're
feed.
doing.
And no, from what we just did on this one.
Oh, just now.
Yeah. And use that also.
Totally.
So we used to, Doug Stanhope, one of my favorite human beings in the world, used to call them SWAPCasts. And he and he'd come over and do a podcast with me.
That's what Halston just called it. He's like, we're going to do that. Yeah.
So if you want any of the footage to use as clips or anything,
it's very generous.
It's all it's not generous.
It goes
it's just the way
back.
the business
A lot of people wouldn't do it.
Why not?
We had the conversation on the way over. I was like, a takeover usually means Metallica takes over, but K-Rock owns the show. You know, and so
that's
we
old
appreciate
school way.
it.
That's a very old school way of thinking.
We're still very grateful to your suggestions, your support throughout the past several months, and of course for feeding Ellie always.
And the car that you guys to the airport when
you sent a car.
I don't even understand that. I was like, why couldn't you take an Uber?
You're setting the bar too high for us.
Very sweet.
Peter operates on one mode, and he's like, and Peter, obviously knows Ellie.
Yes.
And he was like, well, she's going to the airport. We get her a car.
I was like,
all the girls love Peter.
Car. I was like,
all
what
the girls love
Everybody
him.
loves Peter.
Oh, everyone does love Peter.
Peter's pretty adorable.
They love
He's
you
a
too,
great
Halston.
Person. He's a great person.
They do.
Well, I'm so proud of you guys, for doing your
20 episodes
podcast.
is a big deal.
It's more than 20.
We're at 27.
Yeah.
27 episodes.
I was going to say 25. I was close.
28 and 29 about to drop.
You know what? You're almost on it. We only have two bonus episodes. That's why you didn't catch that.
Can I give you guys a soft pitch?
Sure.
Oh, here we go.
Find me on the road in 2023. I'll be in Orlando.
We're going to Orlando already. No, we're going. Like we're already
let's
going.
do a podcast there.
That'd be awesome.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I'm at. I think I'm
You're saying that now after 3 bottles of wine and a bottle of tequila.
Only
are
one
you
bottle.
sure? Okay, he was drinking on the plane. Okay, are you gonna remember this when I?
Yeah, I do this for a living.
That's amazing. Thank you.
I'm going to be in
We will
Tampa
take you
and
up on that
Orlando
offer.
in February, and come backstage. We'll do a podcast.
Oh my God,
We'll set up backstage. Peter you can come over. We'll set it up. We'll talk about your journey, and we'll talk ad nauseum about Orlando. I've spent a lot of time in Orlando.
Nice.
Of course, yes. Oh my gosh, thank you, Bert.
And then
That'd
come to
be
the show,
awesome.
obviously, and then
All right,
we'll party afterwards.
Okay,
Awesome.
Thank you so
Appreciate it.
much. So,
of course.
thank you for having us
That's
on.
way better.
Of course.
Hey, that's way better than the lake house. Thank you. I appreciate it. Or the
Beach house.
Beach house.
Yeah.
Right.
The lake house is her dad's. The beach house is
I
theirs.
still want to attend the lake house. If
The
I
lake
get
house is
invited.
pretty
Would
freaking.
Dad
bet it
let-
is.
Lake house
Oh,
better than
amazing.
the beach house, in my opinion.
Oh,
The
man.
lake house is amazing.
I've
And
heard.
I've
Yeah, because a
heard-
bunch of girls went
I've
over
seen
the
the
summer,
photos.
right? Well,
Yes.
Ellie was.
Girl Scout
Ellie
troop.
whatever was
was
Ellie's
here.
doing.
Ellie
Yeah.
had to stay here.
Yeah, you had the Girl Scout troop, and then I think Daisy and Sophia came to met you at the lake house
Yes.
after the tour, and Ellie couldn't do it because she just
Yeah, she had stuff here.
yeah.
But yeah, I guess Georgia and Daisy, I don't know about Sophia, I haven't heard, are already talking about going to the lake house between fully loaded dates because they want to intern. I don't know if Ellie wants to or not.
Absolutely, she
but
does.
they were-
You're gonna
they
see
were
her tomorrow. She's being a PA. Do you guys know
Yeah,
that?
oh
She's
yeah,
PA.
PA Nation, yes. we are overabundant in PAs. That's okay.
You're gonna get 10 days of the Gordons. It's like a new holiday song for you.
Yeah,
That's so funny.
Ellie's. You're going to see a lot of Ellie and Mia while we're in town. So,
Mia's home? Oh, yeah, I guess Mia would be home.
yeah.
Oh,
Colorado
great.
girls
Look
here
forward
too.
to
Sierra's
seeing
here.
her.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, Sierra's here
The
too.
gang's all back
All right.
together.
Yeah.
Then we'll have them all over anytime.
Thank you so much.
Thank
both of
you
you.
guys.
Seriously.
Thank you for spending the
Thank
whole
you.
day here.
was
This is a
awesome.
lot of your time today too.
That's
So
awesome.
thank you. It was
You're
really
so-
fun. I'm so proud of you guys. I'm really happy for you. And
Thank
I hope you enjoy it as much as I think you do because I
We
think
do.
you really do.
We do.
do.
Absolutely.
Can I?
It's so cool.
I want to give you the last words on your podcast, but realize. It's okay, never mind.
Go ahead. Realize.
That is a very profound statement. That I'm very proud of you guys. No one does this.
Yeah.
Like people just quit. People quit. They quit
right.
because it's too much work, and they don't see the payoff, and they don't look for the positive, and they're negative, and they don't see that they're making an impact, and they go, "Fuck this, fuck this, fuck this."
It's easy to say that. I have to tell you.
The world is full of those people.
They say it, but they don't play it.
Right.
Well, when
You gotta
both of
play.
you suggested it to it, when Bert suggested it, and then LeeAnn was super like, hey, I liked it because we had sent it to Peter. You guys both looked at it, and then LeeAnn called me literally the next day and was like, let's talk about it. We sat on it for a little bit just because we weren't sure, like, how do we do this? And the one thing that we both said at the same time is they're super successful. If they're telling us to do this, then we must have something.
If successful people are going to give you advice,
You take it. You take
Right.
it.
So I
So
listen to my accountant. I listen to podcast extraordinaires.
I
That's
would
just
not
how
put
it
us
is.
in that group. I would put us in a
Slightly different,
bartender
right?
who's like, "You look like you need a whiskey."
really, thank you for saying that.
No,
Like,
it's a big.
That's
I mean,
we
look,
kind of
I'm-
need to hear that.
Great
We need
idea.
to
It's a
hear the same. We
great
need to hear that
idea.
because there are some days we're like, hold, like the fuck it, like we're like, oh, this is
Yeah.
tough. Like we don't see the numbers, or or the numbers aren't where we have a great episode, and it's like we only got like so many people. We thought it was a great episode,
That's the
Well,
learning. That's the learning
yeah.
part.
And you know what? I read my YouTube comments coming on my email. And people are listening to my episodes for the first time from the first year, from 4 years ago. I just found your
that's
podcast,
awesome.
your
Okay.
20s, 30s, 40s episode. I love it so much.
Nice.
I recorded that 4 years ago.
Okay.
Wow.
So it's still
Yeah,
builds.
of course.
Even Something's Burning. They released Something's Burning.
Yeah.
And there's a big jump in the beginning.
Yeah.
But it builds. And then all of a sudden you hit 1 million people. And then all of a sudden now it's at 2 million people. But that's over the course of time.
Right.
It's a long
It's
tail.
not.
Yeah.
It's a long
not
tail and you gotta-
away.
and you
it's
gotta-
not like a CBS show
Yeah.
where you air it and you get your numbers and you're done.
Yeah.
It's
And
not
don't
like
and
that.
don't and I wish I had this fucking book.
Phone.
No, this book page, but the definition of a hack. You know what I'm talking about?
No.
From that silver book.
Yeah, from the
is
War of Art.
someone who thinks they know what the market wants and delivers that to the market as opposed to doing what they want to do. Read the comments, take the notes, but do what the fuck you want to do. Let this turn into whatever the fuck you want it to be, and that is the thing where people will find you and love you and be like, and be like, and let it grow and be whatever, because it's your thing. If it's your thing.
Yeah.
It's your thing. It's no one else's.
And that's what people will fall in love with.
Joe Rogan, you think Joe Rogan would be where he was today?
Oh,
When
if he cared what anyone thought, right?
He cares. I almost wonder like about him sometimes. I go, how little does he pay attention? Because he doesn't give a fuck what anyone thinks about anything. His agents, his managers, no one. He does his own thing. I think I care sometimes. I care, but I don't care enough to like, I'll put on comics that maybe people have never heard of. And then I go, yeah, but I know they're going to be big. And I will say this out loud right now. Proof's in the pudding. I was one of the first dudes to put Tim Dillon on.
Oh,
I was
there
one
you
of the
go.
first people to put Chris Stefano on. All these guys that are blowing up.
Mhm.
Yeah.
All you got to do is just believe in yourself and then go, I do the right thing. I do the thing I want to do. I believe in the right people
And do what you like.
and do what you like and have fun. And if it's not fucking fun, it's not worth it.
If it's
Yeah.
not fun, it's not
Yeah.
worth it.
Yeah.
And what your friends fell in love with about you is what people will fall in love with. So don't be afraid to show that.
Okay.
Whatever that is.
Yeah.
Good, bad, ugly, whatever. Because being human is the most appealing thing.
We had a friend who
Being
one
really
time told us
human.
that she had anal sex with her husband, and it made us love her so much more.
Because we were like,
'Cause
really?
You didn't expect it.
It-
so
it came out of
unexpected.
nowhere.
And we were like, oh my God.
She's normal. She's
You're
human. She's like,
regular.
And we did
Wow.
not think she was normal. And that woman's name is. Edit it out, Halston, but leave it in.
No, edit it out. She would die. Edit it out.
But that's the thing
And
about
we were all sitting around a campfire.
That's
and
crazy.
She dropped that bomb, and we were like, "I love you so much more."
oh
it
my
makes
God.
you, it
You
makes
were
you go
so-
like, oh, you're real.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure. Oh my God. Okay.
Good
You
advice.
have quirks
Thank
and
you.
eccentricities just like the best of us,
Yeah.
right? She's so put together. That's
would
the thing.
never
Is she's
expect it.
really straight and very put together in the most wonderful way.
Uh-huh.
That you're like, I'm really fucking my life up. I'm so not put together. And then when someone shows you that part, you go,
Like-
oh, we're all the same. At the end of the
Butt
day,
sex is
we're
a great
all the same.
equalizer.
You know,
I mean,
it
let's
is.
just say it.
Well, tell that to LeeAnn.
What? Oh, yeah. I'm not into that.
All right.
All right.
All right.
Well, no, I just realized I'm either going to, it's 6
I
o'clock. I'm supposed to do a fucking 200 burpees tonight.
Oh shit.
Oh, good luck with
Ooh,
that.
I know.
I've already worked out today. I don't have to do that. Well, thank you very much for
Thank you.
today. Thank you for
Wow.
all day. Thank you for my strawberry cake.
You're
It was
welcome.
delicious. That was very sweet.
Enjoy.
And it's so nice to see you guys.
Likewise.
Great
Nice
seeing
to
you guys.
see
Happy
you.
holidays. Thank you
Thank
so much
you.
for having us.
You too.
Appreciate
Enjoy
it.
your
Are you here for the whole
girls.
holidays?
Yeah.
Yeah. We're here to the
Well,
28th.
not New Year's. We leave on
Yeah.
the 28th.
Yeah.
The girls will be here.
Okay.
Yeah.
For
Yeah.
New Year's?
Yeah.
Okay.
You'll probably see
Yeah, they're
them.
house sitting for a
Yeah.
friend.
Yeah.
Are you guys here?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Bert's never home for New Year's and he is this year.
Oh,
Yeah, my
that's-
agents misread the memo.
They did.
LeeAnn was like, Bert's off for December. And they're like, cool.
And,
And then I worked all the way up until today.
Today.
And then they were like, no New Year's.
And I was
like,
not
that's the
cool.
money gig.
I was not cool. I was like, I didn't care about New Year's. I'm used to him working New Year's.
Yeah, because
I wanted him off from Thanksgiving to Christmas.
I'm sorry.
And they were like, well, that's fine. We're just going to book him half the month. And I was like, no, I wanted the whole month off. I want him off 6 weeks in the summer and the month of December. Okay. He works every week. Can we just have that? And they were like, okay, we're just going to put one date in December. Now 2. How about, Alaska's come up. How about Alaska?
It's been a pretty aggressive
run.
Oh
my God. So
and
they
I'm
just
home.
took the whole.
And I'm going to sauna tonight. I'm going to polar plunge. I'm going to do at least 100 push-ups or at least 80.
Yeah.
And then
it's time for sweet romance.
Ooh la la.
Thank you.
We'll have the kids over our house so you can have some sweet romance. How's that?
We're pretty quick. They don't notice it when we do it.
We'll have a great visit in LA.
Thank you so much. It's great to be back.
See you next time, okay?
All right.
Thank you.
Check the mic and make sure it sound right, boys.